one more to the CT side. Unless there's the kit on the floor, then there isn't one available for the CTs to actually defuse this bomb, so they need to get their move on very quickly, and Dia is going to put an end to another life. A second for the pole as well, and it leaves all onto Navarra. Not going to be able to do anything, and Sprout are going to take the pistol round.
For the most part, very clean. I mean, the 3 kills that come through there were pretty nice. Has to be said, and oh, you can see the comparison on your screen. 5 maps played on either side. I'd say both teams pretty comfortable on Vertigo. That said, Sprout, they get off with the right foot forward. Now looking for their second as well. No force up from Heretics. They're going to play this one safe, so this one should come pretty easily for the T-side.
Having an 89% win rate after getting the first, that's really impressive. Like, sure, they've not got a massive amount of maps played, but still, that is a crazy stat to have. Like, basically saying that they're very, very good at trading and converting their rounds out. So we'll have to see if that continues for Heretics. Of course, this round, one where they were just hoping to do a little bit of damage, but Sprout actually do a very good job of just keeping things nice and clean. Lots of kills coming up with the SMGs as well to farm up some extra cash. But this is what the CT side were waiting for, and we're actually going to see them drop down to the Famishes just to make sure that they have that extra utility. Also allows for some head armor on some of the players who, well, knowing the likelihood of coming up against an SMG or even a Galil in this scenario. XMS looking like he's about to come under some pressure. He does have the utility just to hold them back that little bit longer, but these early peaks from Sprout are absolutely fine. It means that they can bait out some utility. They haven't had to throw much of their own, and it puts XMS in a bit more of an awkward position now because there's still a minute and a half left on the clock, and he's already used all of his utility.
Flashes galore, but no peaks taken. A very still passive Sprout side who, well, with a minute on the clock, definitely do not want to force the issue here. Imagine they're waiting to see if Heretics decide to get aggressive, which they will do. They give them the chance for that first kill, but Maka takes it hands down, finds the frag on Fathom. And that sets up the CT side rather nicely now, because they don't need to be searching for anything else. They have the information of what they expect is coming, which it will be this B play. They didn't, well, they'll certainly look and hear all this utility coming their way. Now they just have to try and hold on desperately so as Dennis kicked things off. A lot of damage done, but not really any frags. In the end, it seems to be Sprout dropping like flies.
Yeah, Navarra in a good position to try and deny the bomb, but just wants to wait for his teammates to come in for support. Both players now desperately low on the T side, and smart stuff. I'm not giving Oscar really a chance to win that. And there's going to be a few upgrades for the CT side on the remaining rounds. Of course, that was a bit of a bonus coming in for Sprout. They still had some SMGs in play there, Galil as well, and the bomb plant will mean that they're able to basically keep their finances sound. One or two players might be a little bit off on cash, but they definitely do have the money to be able to upgrade them. I'm also interested to see if we'll get much T-side AWPing, because it's definitely not the most common thing when it comes to Vertigo. There's a few angles that you could take the battle. For example, if your opposition's getting quite aggressive on the ramp, the AWP is definitely something that can be brought in. And with someone as proficient with that gun as Oscar, you could definitely make an argument for bringing it in. But for now, just going to be the flat rifles. They had the money in that round that they could have invested into it if they desired. But for now, with maybe these faster plays being in their playbook, the decision is to go without one. And what a start from Maka. He captures Faven early, does not allow for his aggression to be successful, and they have now dominated control of the A ramp.
It's the second time that Maka's been able to get this pick on towards Faven. Really not an ideal start to the round at all for Sprout. There's nothing they can really do. It looks like they're just going to get into the same position. If anything, Maka might even know what's coming here. Just drops the nade. Spinny actually just gets wallbanged. I mean, this is a disaster of a start for Sprout.
Well, they have managed to sneak their way out middle, of course. Without the door there anymore, it's a little bit harder to split into the site. You do have to wrap around the outside, and there are already players holding that position. Maka is around the angle. It's looking like Sprout are just going to try and force the issue onto this B site once again. Molotov falling down. Bit of a crossfire here for the CT side, but it's actually the T's to get one entry. They need a second on the XMX, and they will eventually find that kill, but trades come back thick and fast again. Maka doubling up his kill tally and also helping to double up their rounds.
This puts Sprout in a really rough spot. There's nothing they can really fall back on now. Losing that first round, not all that bad. It was the bonus. Losing the full by then, there's just nothing left. It will have to be the full eco. We're barely even going to see upgraded pistols. It's going to be P250s, the Eagles. That will be all. This should be very easy for Heretics to close, and from there, they'll take the lead. So, not the greatest of starts, really, for the CT side, but, well, they come back after losing the pistol pretty perfectly once on the bye.
But he is still going to be able to do some damage with the Dirty Deeg. And with Lucky already low on health, they do have to be careful here. This is a minute investment. I'm kind of hoping that that rifle finds its way into Faven's hands. Maybe switch over the Deeg onto Dennis and basically have more of an opportunity of that rifle actually doing some work. Keo looking to try and cover off any split back in the other direction, and with Oscar going down, they do start to clean things up a little bit, but Lucky's actually going to fall. Maka now manning his AWP, but this is going to be a split in towards XMS. He's now going to come under a lot of pressure. He does manage to line up a couple, but Faven very quick with that Deeg to trade. That should allow them a bomb planter. This is already a hugely successful round for Sprout, don't get me wrong. But can they do anything more? Not for Dennis at least, and now Faven with everything to do. Only 12 HP, and it comes very close to a kill on Mac. Unfortunately, with only 14 HP, and with only 12 at that time for Faven, they're not going to be able to do anything more. So 3 kills in a bomb plant, massively successful round for Sprout. And now they're going to be able to buy up with whatever they desire. Still not looking like the AWP will be coming in just yet. Oscar not quite with the finances, and it would have meant they had to take a hit on utility or even a player not having any head armor, which versus the CT side, not ideal. And while Sprout have forced an awful lot of rebuys here, so if the T's can break back in this round, it's going to be a bit of an awkward position in the next for Heretics.
That's what we want to see, though. We want to see Sprout get a buy run on the board, because we haven't actually seen a single gun round success from them yet. That's the thing to keep in mind. It's only been the work they were able to do in that first and second round, so they have to show us something, otherwise it looks like Heretics, immediately after recovering from that first sort of 2-round stint, basically have crushed them. Scoreline doesn't quite reflect it, but that really is the truth. No really early shenanigans, at least for Sprout, not losing the likes of Faven early on. Not really gaining any map control either, though. They are getting close to being able to push up on towards B if they want it, but they haven't really done all that much here. Molly will come through, but doesn't present a frag opportunity, unfortunately.
Yeah, patience from Sprout. They do seem to be having a heavy focus on the B side. That's not something you see too often when it comes to this map. A executes are very common, but I suppose so far Heretics have done a good job of really just not allowing them that space, not allowing them to get anywhere near the ramp. So by the looks of it, they're either going to have to go for a late take into the back of A, which might actually be the case here, but good Molotov usage, perfect from Kiyoshima as well. 2 headshots to just leave this T side with nothing left, and it's almost like they have a stranglehold on Sprout at the moment. They're just forcing them into the angles, into the battles that they want, and that is a fantastic CT round from Heretics. They don't allow them the ramp. They force them to try and wrap around the back of A, and at that point, they still had an incendiary and Kiyoshima making sure the ramp was covered, so there was no way they get into that site. Heretics, already a joy to watch on Vertigo. And the T's, well, I'm sure they're not enjoying it half as much as I am.
Almost certainly. They have to halfway here. That's all they can really afford. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do start to see some more sort of hard and fast B hits here, because every time they've gone A, they either lose a player within the first 10 seconds and then lose the round 30 seconds later, or they just get completely picked apart on their execute. But they've yet to see any signs of success towards an A play. Same start here, unfortunately. Nevera kick things off. Maka then with a second frag as well. Of course, it is just Pistols and Kevlar in play, so not expecting the world, but at least they could maybe get a frag into the round, an inch on the CT side.
Yeah, the thing is, though, in the last pistol round, they were actually able to get away with quite a lot. This A site seems like it's on lockdown at the moment, though. Sure, a couple of tags hit onto 3 different players, but not really anything to worry about if you're on the Heretics side. Money is now booming. You got 7,000 on Lucky, even post-buy. They managed to retrieve AKs onto every single one of their players except one. And when you are related to the headshot machine, I'm sure the silenced M4 is definitely going to be in your playbook. But this is where we need to see a change from Sprout. Otherwise, things could easily get out of control. It's looking like they're going to fight for the ramp once again, but this deep smoke is just irritating. They're going to run straight through it. I think that needed to be done. But even still, look at the counter utility and even the AWP shot. They're being forced into such horrible duels. Dennis, 4 HP. He knows he needs a headshot, so just trying to spot headshot angles. Instead, he has been spotted by the CT side. Lucky, even avoiding the flash. He's going to try and get aggressive, and he's going to succeed, just spraying down the majority of the Sprout roster, leaving Oscar all alone. This is beautiful Counter-Strike from Heretics, and Sprout yet to really turn up. Flawless CT round once again for Heretics. That money is going to continue to grow, but they're making this look all too easy. Aggression, just successful. Clinical accuracy, and early strong utility usage. At the moment, the A site hasn't even been dented by Sprout.
That's the problem, and because of the way this game has gone, they have no money again to really do anything in this round, just Pistols, Kevlar. And that hasn't really worked for them recently. As you said before, they've had a couple of few good picks, they maybe got some damage here and there, but that's all. We haven't seen them actually have a chance at a round, and this could be 7-2, Tom. I mean, what a start for Heretics. Flawless Counter-Strike on their CT side Vertigo, and what a way to kick off this series. I think they have to make a statement, really, going into second map. Of course, that is the Sprout home ground, so not a bad way to show up early on. Heretics really do mean business.
Well, Faven again. He seems to be the only man able to do too much in this game so far, at least when the pistols are involved. Actually going to boost back up into mid. I suppose they still have to retreat the bomb. It's not in the most comfortable position and just absolutely wrecked by Lucky. It's definitely good to see him bounce back, like, in this team. It has to be said, like, it didn't go too well in his days in G2, but he's killing it in Heretics. And this roster, I think it shows not only the depth of the French scene, but also the opportunities that are there for organizations to pick up some of the young talent that's coming through. 7-2. France versus Germany, normally a strong matchup when it comes to football, but so far the French are absolutely dominating when it comes to Counter-Strike. Dennis and Co being a bit more patient in this round. I think they're going to try and wait for some of the utility to fade. They tried this previously and it did not work at all. Lucky actually somewhat out in the open. And this time they're actually going to win that opening duel for the first time in quite a while. Somebody's actually going to be dropped, and Faven's able to get close to Maka's position. The nade's going to go just past it. Nice work from Faven. That's now a double opener. Kiyoshima, the rock on the site. The only one standing, and he's not going to be able to do anything. Oscar's AWP has found that third and final man defending this A site. And while This surely has to be the round. Much better from Sprout, finding picks left, right, and center, and finally managing to punish the aggression of Heretics on that ramp. Only a lone Belgium left. And he's just going to try and save the AWP.
Nothing he can really do here apart from that, unfortunately. Sprout stepping up and actually getting a couple of really solid opening picks. It starts with the frag. They find towards Lucky on ramp. He's just out wide in the open. And from there, everything really starts to come to play. Obviously, Maka, it's kind of an unconventional position with you. We don't often, at least I haven't seen it too much. And it's also one that can very easily be punished if you can get yourself far enough up ramp through the scaffolding to actually take that duel against him. And in that case, they were able to get away with it. So not a bad start from Sprout. They get a round on the board, or at least a gun round on the board. But what are they going to be able to do with it? They have to be able to take this and really build from this now. Because if they don't, all that they're going to find is their economy will be battered. Likely their motivation battered as well. And the scoreline really starts to fall out of favour.
Well, yeah, this is basically all or nothing. They did at least manage to win it so cleanly that their money has built up behind them. They'll be a comfortable buy in the next round for Sprout, no matter the outcome. But they definitely haven't scared Heretics into not pushing this. Nice shot, though, from Dennis once again. That's 2 rounds in a row now. He's managed to open up one of the more experienced members of this Sprout roster. Clearly looking to try and drag them through a second for Oscar as well. That AWP purchase has definitely worked as a counter. And I think the patience as well. Not necessarily pushing through that smoke and trying to fight through it. Just waiting for a mistake to be made by Heretics. And it seems like they've started to find a little bit of a loophole in the defense. Still, 3 players standing in their way, and actually all on A. Now, with players making their way through mid, there's going to be a lot of information gathered by the T side, and more importantly, map control. The question is, do they actually check into the back of the B side when they go that way? Oscar's so quick on the flick. Won't let them another, but they are continuing towards A. It's one of the only ways that the T's could win this, but the timing works out wonderfully. I think Kio's about to be surrounded. Good round from Sprout once again. And once more, it's down to Dennis with those opening picks.
Feels like that's very much what this game's going to come down to at this point. Is can Sprout find that first and even second duel just to start strong? Look at that shot from Oscar. That nasty stuff. To see that 4th round in play, though. Sprout in desperate need of linking.
Absolute bunker of defense has now actually become the main form of offense for Sprout. Not going to be going down. Lucky taking a big risk. Doesn't actually decide to push through it. He already has the support from his teammates, so the risk may not be necessary. They've also got a couple of HEs. I wonder if they'll try and just dunk it onto the bomb planter. At this stage, it's looking like it will be Dia. Lucky spray through actually only finds bullets in return, and Oscar has found one through the edge. The nade does eventually finish off Farvan, but that's not overly surprising. On the CT side, so low on HP, I'm just going to have to fall into a save. That's now a streak of rounds coming back for Sprout. Some good individual brilliance, but I think as well they realized that maybe the early streak that came out was just some, I don't want to say luck, but some good play coming out from the Heretic side. Whereas when they started to counter them, wait a little bit more, be a bit more patient, and basically just hit their shots on the entry, things started to fall apart for the French side.
That's the beauty of this game, though. Sprout, 3 rounds now back-to-back for them. Their money's really starting to build up, and in the end, this makes them much more competitive. Was T-side Vertigo? How many rounds would you be expecting, Tom? What's your go-to Vertigo scoreline?
I think it's another one of those maps where it really does depend on like how much utilities and how much money's actually been there for the CT side, because it is still fairly up in the air, like in terms of how balanced this map is. I would still lean it slightly towards the T side, but ultimately for now, I think they're going to be aiming for at least 7. I think that'll be the goal for Sprout with how things have been going so far. Especially now with the string of momentum. Like, if they just end this half 10-5, I think they'll be bitterly disappointed. And they've got very, very close to breaking the Heretics economy. So I do think Vertigo's one of the more even maps. But it's in a sense of like Inferno, where if all of the utility can be built up, you can get the AWP, the incendiaries, and basically everything Heretics had in the early rounds, you really can build up a strong CT half. However, not going so well. They don't actually check the sandbags, however, and that's their downfall. Lucky. Going to be picking up a double. Another kill even coming in. Back of the FAMAS for Nevera and leaving Dia and Oscar alone. The mistakes of not clearing that position have definitely come back to bite them. Normally a position Molotoved by the majority of teams, but I do believe that was just more of an attempt to get onto the site quickly. Dia has managed to find one back in return, though, and with Belgium youngster so low on HP, there's a chance for the pole to cause some havoc.
25 seconds, so they are going to have to prioritize getting that bomb down, though. Using the smoke to their advantage, and all that time spent gives XMS the time to come in from behind. Look at him, pinpoint accuracy. Finds one, his teammates swinging for a second. Heretics make it look easy. Only a 3-round stint from a Sprout before being shut down by the CT side. It's unfortunate, really, because they were right on the cusp of having their economy broken. And then they win this. Such a crucial timing for them to pick up a round.
Yeah, it's going to put the French side back up onto 8. There's been a good half from them, for sure. I've said, for me, at the moment, I slightly lean it to the T side, but it really is much of a muchness at this point. I think it also depends on the teams themselves. Here we go. Secondary ult purchased up once again. It's not really had too much impact yet for Nevera. XMS actually somewhat sectioned out of the site, but going to be the rat back towards the ramp. Maybe just trying to force some players off. And look at the CT rotation. At the moment, at least, they're in the wrong place, but they are going to start doubling back. Look to try and support Maka, who is the lone defender of this ramp. Someone who looks like he's about to be pressured by the T's.
It's a very patient T-side, just waiting for the smokes to fade. And as they do, the war paint comes on. They get ready to dart from the trenches into the site. Maka dropping the defensive smoke, and that completely saves him in this position, at least for now. What a nade as well. So much damage dished out by the CT side before the first duel even takes shape. And when it does, they just drop the hammer. Lucky already with first blood as he strikes on Oscar. Things only go from bad to worse as Maka and co pick them off. Spiddy, Deecher actually getting 2 kills there. Might just so save the round for Sprout with Deecher getting lucky. It almost certainly has done. And he just keeps on going. Nevera down to 28 HP as he just walks into his crosshair.
I'm just going to leave him all on his own. Unfortunately, the state of this round means that he can't really go for anything here. The AWP into the next round will be far more valuable for the side, and it's going to be a 8-6 scoreline. I decided to check, like, just out of interest, like the map statistics for both of these teams. Heretics were almost exactly 50-50 for how they do in either half, which, to be fair, if they get 8 rounds and then get 8 in the next, that would be that flawlessly done. Sprout, it was like 51-49. So both teams, that was slightly in favor of the T side. So it is fairly balanced at this point. Navarra, is he going to be able to save? No, he's not. Didn't expect Farven to come around from the flank. And Sprout slowly now grinding this back. It was a flying start for Heretics, but the Germans definitely showing that they're not going to be left out of this one just yet. Well, now the CT side, they're going to be left in a bit of trouble financially. They're still focusing heavily on utility, which from how they've been playing, especially the A side, that's understandable. They like to really control the ramp, try and take it away from Sprout, but Sprout realized fairly on in this match that even just being a little bit more patient, not battling straight away, can actually benefit them quite significantly. I'm actually going to be using the sandbag in the corner. It's going to be spotted out. So that's actually a spot that I like to use when playing the CT side. If you can get deep in, drop off behind the beam, then when they run up the stairs, they're not going to see you. I do like finding my little gremlin spots that just trigger people in matchmaking.
That is the best way to describe it as well. It is quite literally a little gremlin spot.
I'm like the troll under the bridge. That's how I play Counter-Strike, because my aim's not good enough. So I just put myself in positions where I could be using a PP Bison and I would still get the kill. It is it's genius until you have to rotate and accidentally fall off the map. But other than that, it's absolutely fine.
Hey, you win some, you lose some.
It's gonna be coming in. Oh, peek around the corner from XMS, not quite enough. And King Keo. Oh, okay, that was a little bit dirty, but it doesn't matter in the end. An 8-7 half. So I spoke about this map being relatively even in terms of the statistics. And there you go. About as even as you can get.
Especially considering just how the rounds are played out here. What's that? 7 rounds back-to-back here? A pretty impressive CT side stint, has to be said. Sprout saving themselves at the final moment, really. Can you imagine if they didn't start picking up those gun rounds? If they continue to struggle 8-9 rounds in? We'd be looking at a very different game here.
It's actually quite interesting now looking at the different match statistics of Vertigo, because until you asked me, I'd not really thought about it, like where I'd lean this map. And it really is, no matter what team you look at, it is basically 50-50. It's either 51-49, like for Astralis, it's 51-49 in favor of the CT side. Like, it's so unbelievably close. Well, in fact, it's not even 51, it's just
for the top 20 teams in Counter-Strike, it's 48-51. So that accurately sums it up, I think, in all fairness. That Vertigo
it doesn't accurately, because that would leave 1%, Ryan. Nonetheless.
You get the point. I can't do quick math, okay?
I'm just going to be able to hit some shots on his way out. 1% are just random.
It's just random. It's just undecided. The third team comes in play. The spectator.
Oh, the CT side have started this pistol off very strong indeed, but Maka still standing. He's got a lot of time. Now, that's the one benefit of going for such an aggressive rush push, is that if all of your teammates die, you have well over a minute to try and clean up the mess. The problem is 1 versus 2. He's the lower on HP. He's got a smoke, and the bomb's in a horrible spot, and he's also got a bullet in his head. Oscar is there to close that round out. I'm really looking forward to see him up to this CT side. I have to say, when this map first came out, I hated it with a passion. I know you're still not a fan, Ryan, from what you've said before, which is fair enough. Each to their own. But I do enjoy watching players AWP down the ramp. We saw Maka do it in the last half, and I'm expecting Oscar to do it in this one. I will say his weaponry decision in this round is one that I do not condone. But, you know, if you're running and gunning, looking for a bit of fun, P90's for you.
MP7's doing a pretty good job of making some money as well. Jumping around, cleaning them up. I'll tell you what, the map's actually been growing on me. I'm not gonna lie. It's still not up there even in my top 5 Counter-Strike maps, to be quite frank, but it's definitely growing on me. It wasn't originally the map I hated to see.
There was a point where I also feel like, this coming from me especially, it sounds like a boomer quote, but it's like, there was a point where it seemed like it was cool to hate Vertigo, where people were just like, oh yeah, Vertigo sucks. Like, why? I don't know, I don't play it. It's like, well, yeah, all right then. Of course you're gonna hate it. Whereas now, I actually don't think it's too bad. Like, I think the top teams have found ways to play it. I think that there's decent timings a lot of the time. I think this battle for ramp is actually quite an interesting meta, and I think mid by a lot of teams is still fairly underutilized. We saw some attempts from Sprout in the last half to do it, but then there's the gamble of the CTs to try and hold on to their flank. How do they actually work to make sure that players can't wrap around on to the B side? It's got some layers to it, literally and in theory as well. So I don't know. It's definitely become something that's been more interesting. I like the fact that they removed the ability to look through the elevators, because I think it was one of the stupidest dynamics in any map ever.
It was the little things like that when Vertigo was released that made this a bit of a dumb one for the pool, but they have made little quality of life changes. This little side panel as well was actually, I like this, like the ability to wrap around onto the other side of the site, the closing off of the B site, so it's a little bit tougher to retake. They've made some nice changes, like credit where credit is due. I think that's something that the guys at CS have been doing quite well recently, but I guess with competition up and coming, they have to. Now, Kiyoshima, he is going to get that opening. Spiddy taking a bit of a risk, and speaking of risks, Oscar's still got his P90. We'll see whether or not it's quite as good as the Bison. Not quite. He's going to get wrecked. They're going to give the T side this man advantage. Now, they are slowly running out of time. 25 seconds. There's still 2 players on this site. The bomb actually just on the floor is being juggled around. And I wonder if the French side's starting to run out of time. Luckily, the kill coming in from the Belgium and the quick trade. They pounce together. They move as a unit. I think that's something that really has to be focused on when you speak of this Heretic side, especially it seems throughout iterations. I always seem to find that whenever you see this, like, third French team, that's the way I'm going to put it, the third French team always just seems like a group of players who are almost like identical twins. I suppose it wouldn't be twins if there's 5 of them, but you get the point. They just seem to run on the same wavelength, and it is impressive that this continues to happen throughout the French scene. Communication normally seems to be on point, and even then, like, the timing of that push was spot on. Anything less than that, Spiddy has the chance to turn around and maybe win the round. They didn't give him that chance because they pincered him at exactly the same time. So good work from Heretics. Again, they're going to even up the scoreline. Dennis even going to go down at the end, so no MP9 save for him. And money is actually going to be a little bit of an issue. The one problem of even just investing into a P90, for example, a lot more expensive than something like a UMP, PP Bison, MP9, whatever other SMG you like. Also gives you a lot less of a reward. So there's going to be some pieces missing from this buy, but because they did keep it quite clean over the last couple of rounds, it's not too bad. Looks like a quick pause, which I would imagine makes the most sense here for the Sprout side. Could be technical in nature, we frankly have no idea, but at least it is going to be a chance for Sprout to sit back for a second and start to discuss what they're thinking for CT. Obviously, they want to make sure they don't let Heretics start to break out too far ahead on these gun rounds, because I think Heretics are a team who, from just what I've seen so far in the last couple of best of threes I've watched them in, once they pick up the pace, it's very difficult to stop them, really.
Well, they are looking to try and continue to challenge that ramp once again. Nade actually going to be dunked onto Navarra, so his lurk over on the B site might be a little bit diminished in this round. Of course, the CT side can't actually afford to challenge ramp for too long, and I wonder if Heretics are actually going to take advantage of this. Now, the main reason I say this is because going into this round, either they would have reduced weaponry or reduced utility. Now, it's the latter in this case. That's the last smoke, I believe. There is one more onto Dennis, so they could hold it down for another 30-40 seconds, but even still, that would leave half a minute for this Heretic side to execute. They're actually going to be spamming through, and they have lost this battle by quite a margin. Dia, he's going to manage to do the work. I have to say, after his days in aristocracy, I'm quite pleased to see that he has got back on his feet in a new squad. Massive talent from Poland. He is a beast of a player. It is a shame that Taz's roster didn't go too well. I would have loved to see that team succeed, but obviously without financial backing, it's quite difficult. And a good pickups from Sprout in general after losing two of their best players to the mighty Big. But here we go. We're going to see if they can hold on with that last 30-second execution coming in from Heretics.
Pascal was almost pixel perfect there for the headshot. Unfortunately, just can't quite see a thing thanks to the smokes. They will try and boost over the top using this back block of wood, but unfortunately, just still cannot see a thing. Just going to have to wait. Get a little aggressive once the smokes begin to fade. They do have the man advantage on the retake, but just doesn't seem like they can really do anything with it. Nivera makes the push, in fact, forces the first kill towards this T side. Lucky next in line, Favon only good for one. I think this round might be done. Running out of time here, 10 seconds to work with to get the frag on Kiyoshima. He's 3 HP. Just not got it in him.
Ooh, that was unbelievably close.
That was really
We're watching
close.
Dennis having a little jaunt around the map, but the fact is that we hear the bomb almost go off. Not quite the point of view I would have liked to see, if I'm honest, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. And the CT side, just about making that work. Now, the T's are actually going to risk it for a biscuit. This buy is nowhere near perfect. They've got one player on a pistol. They've got some utility missing. Definitely seeing more and more Tech 9s. And this is the same deep smoke we're seeing almost every single time now. X-KOM already going to lose his life to Oscar. Remember, they're on a 100% win streak. Look at that from Maka,
Oh
though.
my goodness.
That is clean as it gets. Both players gone within a clip. And now Favon, he's had to rotate in quickly to try and secure this A site from falling into enemy hands. He does have support. Biddy's rotated in, still using that trusty AUG. Nice shot from Favon as well. Beast with the AK. It's going to put Maka down. No more heroics from him. And Favon clearly feeling confident, maybe a little bit over the top as he looks to push through. Biddy trying to tap. She takes a lick of damage from the Molotov, and a second one attempted to be thrown in. Instead, it's the nade to actually do the majority of the damage. No denial of this bomb can happen, and Spiddy will be waiting for Dennis's support. The issue, though, a singular kit, not much utility. 3 T players just waiting back passive. I don't really see a way that they win this round, especially with Spiddy being so tagged. Dennis even going to start to take damage through the wall. Smoke will be thrown on. And they do actually manage to release some damage, but it won't matter in the end. Heretics are going to trade out those final couple of kills. And if I'm being brutally honest, I would have quite liked to see the guys at Sprout just save those 2 guns, because now their money really is going to be in turmoil.
Look at that, though. I mean, that is just crispy play from Maka. What a way to open up the site. You've got to be fuming if you're on the receiving end of that. Just one player waltzes in, sprays you both down with headshots. It's just nasty, nasty stuff. But that ties us up 10 for 10, and likely hands over the lead here to Heretics, given that Sprout only have the pistols in play. And, I mean, look how broken their money is right now. I mean, you've got Teacher $1,000 in the bank after buying Kevlar and Deagle. Really not ideal. They kind of spent some money into that round, but didn't wholly commit. And that forces them, of course, to have to save again here.
Well, Heretics 5 rounds away from keeping their 100% record over the last few months. And as you mentioned, the CT side still don't have money to buy into this one. I think they're just trying to balance the cash a little bit in the last round, knowing that this would be a double eco. Nivera trying to get himself some padded stats. Ends up actually handing an AK away now. It would be a fairly long save in this round. They're actually going to put pressure onto a second player as well. This could be Dennis. Well, a double kill, but not quite the one he was hoping for. They've done some serious damage already in this round, but with both players already half HP or below, those AKs will be far more valuable going into the next round than trying to kill off more of the French side in this one.
Heretics looking in a really good position now. start to build up these rounds and take it away. You talk about that streak, you'd be wrong to discredit it, I think, and say, oh, just the quality of teams is poor, or something like that, or it's online CS. They've beaten some pretty good teams of Ergo, Tom. There's been some pretty good results for them. We're talking of streaks, we can also look somewhat ahead to map 2. Sprout have been a bit of a beast there as well. Just that being Mirage. What was the streak there, Tom? Was it 10 games? I can't recall the stat you mentioned.
13.
13. I mean, that is just...
I can go back and do some counting if that helps. Well, they've got 14 maps played in the last 3 months. They've lost 1 to Big yesterday. Yeah, other than that, it was 13 games, 1 in a row on Mirage. Beating teams like Mobistar a couple of times. They even beat Big back last month. AGO, Dignitas, Copenhagen Flames. Reasonable rosters in there. Haven't played Heretics on it though, so we'll have to wait and see.
XMS. Buddy,
he's
that's
just
not the one.
entered the cooking challenge. Unfortunately, he didn't realize that he was the main course. Kyoshima will be able to trade one back though. They're still finding kills across the map. This is still looking like a good round though for Sprout. Lucky. A little bit wary that maybe that Molotov didn't quite go far enough. Of course, the spam through the wood can do a lot of damage. I've said it before, I'll say it again. S-Tag is someone that you want to be watching if you want to try and learn some of those spam shots through the wood. Obviously, right now, he is quote-unquote benched because he is waiting for his contract to end before he can play for Astralis. But he has some serious talent when it comes to finding players through the wood on this map. So go back, watch some of the Heroic demos. You can watch Heretic play right now. Maybe they've been watching S-Tag demos, I would. So here we go, Oscar. Elevated angle. Bomb is going to be able to cross the site. And actually, the T's have got an entry on their way. Quick trade coming in from Dia. He's managed to make his way around the corner. A second one for the pole, the last player so desperately low. And he's going to close this out all at his own. His teammates sat back, just watching the show from the pole. At least a comfortable bed to lie in for XMS after being burnt alive. 12-11. Heretics definitely been given a run for their money here. Of course, money is one thing they do actually have remaining. Macca's going to buy up the AWP on the T side. It's something that we've seen a few times now. Oscar was able to make it work quite successfully, especially around this ramp. And Macca's patient. It seemed like that shot was going to be spot on, but it's actually him to take the tag. Oscar clearly a little bit quicker on the trigger. Maybe shooting between his legs. But that is not the start that the AWPA was hoping for going into this round.
Thankfully, he is still standing. He's able to do something with that AWP, providing he sets himself up correctly. Looks like it will be just more and more pressure applied to ramp. Oscar ready and waiting to get a pick, but mollied out of position. Just what you like to see. Actually, I like how they re-molly that, just to make sure that no map control is gained. "48 seconds though, Tom. Heretics do like leaving it to the absolute last minute here. Reminiscent of what we saw in the first half as well. Both teams trying to really just maximize the time they have on their ramp take, leaving it right down to the last second before they do bite that bullet.
That flashbang was spot on, but it only gets him 1 kill. At least denies the T's that little bit further. They're going to start their wraparound, but Dia really has been a thorn in their side over the last few rounds. They're looking to try and defend this bomb plant. Hole trying to spam through. He spots a man crossing back, and actually, Dennis is going to be caught, but still Oscar's found another. Dia's going to go down to Navarra. He's got his 2nd kill of the round already, and Oscar going to try and make some presence known. They want to pincer them in. Faven coming in from behind is already going to get himself a freebie. Looks for the second, but can't quite connect. And Oscar just has to try and stick this defuse. I don't think he's going to be getting it. The execution comes in the end, and Heretics just about squeeze out another round.
That is incredibly close. If they're able to win that duel, that's a guarantee round for them there. But by just letting him stay alive, rotate back up through ramp, it comes down to when does he peek? How much of a bait does he think this defuse is? So unfortunate.
I have to say, it's the first time casting Scream's little brother for me, and I'm enjoying it. This kid's got some talent. It is amazing how just like the depth. I suppose he's Belgian, but I still count it as the French scene because ultimately that's where they come to play. The depth within these different teams just to find players out of absolutely nowhere. I still remember watching AAA play with Zywoo on it when he was like, what, 16? Just acing pistol rounds in MDL for fun. And all of us just sat there waiting, going, yeah, can you join one of the good teams now, please? please. We want to see you wreck face, and he has. Oscar is banging it with the Deagle this round, though. 2 headshots to start things off.
Hello.
Another coming in for Dia as well. He's another man where, as said, I'm loving watching him play. I'm a big fan.
I just want to point out, Tom, that a whole bunch of pistols with barely any Kevlar have got themselves in what was a 3-on-1 for Kiyoshima. Just putting that out there. This round has been...
It was a 4-on-1.
This is ridiculous. We talk over it as if nothing crazy is going on, but this shouldn't be a round that Sprout really had much say in. They didn't have Kevlar on. I believe only 2 players had Kevlar there. Let's see. Yeah, literally Deeksha and Dennis, the only 2.
Yeah, they're just beasts. Oscar killing it. And yeah, it was a 4-on-1 when Kyo actually tried to start saving that. I do like that he throws the AWP out of them, basically just accepting his fate. But look at the damage that round alone has done to the T-side economy. Their money is trash. You have to remember the last round that they won, Navura was in a 1v1 clutch. He just about manages to sneak it out, meaning, well, obviously, that he was the only one left alive. So financially, they got wrecked. And now Oscar, well, this is not a man that you want feeling confident because him and Diha dominating the ramp. I'll be honest, if it's me, I would just be sat there going, oh, you know what? B's looking pretty good right about now. I'm feeling B. I would not be going anywhere near those 2 players. Just like, nah, you know what? Nah, you can have it. You can have the ace. We'll go bomb the other one. But for now, at least, T-side struggling. Just pistols, 1 player alive. The young Belgium trying to at least do some damage. You don't want to allow them to win a pistol round, save a couple of guns, and then come back and win a flawless round. That would be horrible. You're just setting up the CT side to succeed. Spitty, patiently waiting. There's not really a good direction to go in here. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong. That's a free kill. A second one as well. That's an AWP into his hands. Just going to chuck that one out of the map and just basically go, nope, you're not keeping this. And there's another rifle as well. Just trying to basically be as irritating as possible. I wonder if, with the amount of time, it might have just been worth keeping that AWP. But, oh well. Maka will have to buy his own if he wants it. 15 seconds left. If he is going to do something here, it has to be around. And that's why I think that he planned to make a play in this round when he threw the AWP out. And now that he's got an M4, he's decided against it. And I bet there's a part of him that goes, should have kept the AWP. But, oh well. Still a very nice attempt. As said, this is not, you didn't want to let them get away with a flawless round. So 2 kills coming up. That is not bad whatsoever considering the investment. That's more what you expect, Ryan, when you invest into a few deagles. 2 kills. That's reasonable. Not 5. Definitely not 5, but that might be what actually cost Heretics the game. They are going to have a buyback in now. They're actually sticking away from the AWP. Now, whether that would have been the same choice if they'd had one for free, who knows? But back to this challenge onto the A ramp once again. Oscar wanted to go for the peak. He's not been allowed.
It's going to be a slow ramp advance here from Heretics this time. Not really forcing the issue. Deeksha will actually be caught here if they're not careful. Not a bad frag grenade, to be fair. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage. Great flash, but can't quite find anything from it and gets caught out from Nivera in the end, who just crunches onto the site. Heretics' ability to execute here and get a bomb plant with little to no jewels actually being taken from Sprout is really nice, because it makes this retake just so awkward for the CT side. It would have been 5-on-5 if we didn't see that jewel come through towards back lanes.
Well, just two players looking to try and hold on to their weaponry here. Pretty giving it a damn good go. The bomb is going to be going off. Money again becomes an issue for Sprout. Neither team really able to get themselves into a financially viable situation. Spiddy can drop one. Faven can probably buy. I imagine Oscar's going to be handed that AWP, so it would just leave them in a spot where it's awkward. It's very awkward. Dennis, just go play a 5-7. It's not the end of the world, but it's not what you want to have going into what could be one of the final rounds of the match. It seems like Heretic very good at stepping up exactly when they need to. Oscar this time actually going to be playing aggro on to be, very aggro on to be, but he's been left completely blind. Smoke actually going to go down by the T side, which is interesting. A little bit of a gap in it, and they are going to spot out Oscar. He's going to get away at least. But the T's once again very slow in the initial stages of the round, just wait for all of the utility to be wasted on Sprout's side, and then they start their move forward. They make their way in the direction of the A site once again, grouped up as a full 5-man stack. 3 players here ready to defend it. Incendiary going to go down. They're going to clear out the back of the sandbags, and here come the CT side. A flashbang gets them through it, but XMS. He pops 2 heads on his way forward. Oscar now the only defender in a full rotation coming in from the CT side. They need to try and stop this push, Ryan.
The downside is the 2 players they found are the 2 players that did not have the smokes for the execute, so that enables Heretics to try and go for this free plant again here as they just come up close and personal. Maka dangerously low, but unfortunately still standing, and the plant does come through. More damage dished out to XMS, but he still manages to retreat. Thankfully, there's the frag on Maka. That opens things up a little bit now as Keo and Co play towards ramp. We've seen how dangerous this position is in the past, and we'll see it again once more.
That was dirty from Kiyoshima. Oh, the flank shot from Oscar's going to be missed, and Keo again is going to pick up another. It's left all onto Oscar, 1 versus 2, and the bomb is too far gone. He's just got to run for the hills and try and save that AWP. Lovely shots from Kiyoshima. He really has been a rock for this side, exactly when they need him to step up. His experience shines through. XMS as well, those were great kills coming up from the 2 of them. Sniper comparison. Maka, I don't think has been overly using the AWP too much. I suppose we did see it more on the CT side. Both players with the same amount of entry kills. 5 pistol kills up for Oscar as well. They're looking like some of his teammates might need a few more. Spiddy, Farven, only going to be left with pistols. You've at least got Oscar's AWP, and I imagine that means he's going to be very aggressive in this round. They need him to be. They need him to take some weapons, maybe drop some over. This is 15-13 map point to Heretics. It's one that we expected them to take from how they've been playing on it recently. But Sprout have pretty much given them a run all the way through. The question is, can they now continue this and take us to OT?
That's a very big question, Tom. 15-13. Sprout need 2 rounds back to back, and I'm just not so sure they've got it in them. Heretics seem to have the perfect A execute right now. This time, though, testing the B site. That's where Dennis comes into play. Gets 1 for his troubles, but unfortunately immediately met by Maka, who forces the issue. Spiddy charging with the deagle, and he's actually going to make it stick here. Only good for 1 in the end, but bloody close.
Oh, the kill onto Maka actually makes all the difference. Or kill from Maka, I should say. And now Dia, it's him once again. He's had a good game so far, but needs to do so much. Heretics, they're going to continue their 100% win streak on Vertigo. It has become one of their home maps, a map that they are unbeaten on. But now they're going to be heading into dangerous territory. Up next, Mirage with a 93% win streak for Sprout. We'll be back after a short break. Join us then.
Going through the smoke, Woxic gonna go down, Woxic with the AW
position. Earthshaker's moving in as well. Echo Slam connects on it too. Back row tire down as well.
It always wins the brawl. Or can we cast the curse in? Oh, there we go.
Lootbet.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to Lootbet to cash out now.
the smoke walks. He's gonna go down. Walks in with the AW.
Position, Earthshaker's moving in as well. Echo Slam connects on it too. Back row tired down as well.
Red always wins the brawl. Or can we cast the curse in? There we go.
Lootbet.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to Lootbet to cash out now.
Hello and welcome back. It's more Lootbet action as we're here with Sprout versus Heretics. A first map result on Vertigo that kept with what we expected, I think. Heretics delivering once more as they keep the win streak alive. But now we're in a slightly different setting. It's Mirage, and this is the battlefield for Sprout, who have won 13 maps. Almost back-to-back on this before facing Big just yesterday. Tom, this is set to be quite a decisive second map and likely forced to a third. Do you think Heretics really have much to say here, or is it going to be just clear-cut Sprout running away?
Well, it's a map that, from what we've seen from them, it's not necessarily a bad one. They've been able to be OG. They managed to beat Nordavind. Na'Vi Jr., take that one with a pinch of salt. Like, I don't really know how much they'd play. And the only real saving grace is that yesterday, of course, some of the vulnerabilities were shown. So obviously, Big have basically said, look, Sprout are not invincible. They won 13 matches in a row, sure. They even beat us on it, but they're not invincible. We beat them 16-8. If maybe they could have shown up some of the flaws in it. And also, I feel like Heretics are one of those rosters where they may not necessarily have the brand of some of the like bigger teams, but I do think they have a lot of individual skill, which I think will help them out quite significantly. Clearly, this is a map that they're happy to play. Of course, you're going to put Sprout as out-and-out favorites. There's no doubt. It's their best map and their favorite map and the one that they play the most. Like, everything points towards them taking this away. But I don't think Heretics are just going to lay down and not fight for this one. I think that after their victory on Vertigo, we are shown that they have, like, strong individual skill. They've been playing great as a unit. I think the fundamentals of the Heretics, and basically what I was saying, like the third French team, whichever it is, always seems to have this fantastic synergy that just doesn't seem to be elsewhere. Like, maybe they have internal problems occasionally, but they always just seem to be able to like call fairly basic strategies and pull them off without much of a hitch. So I think Sprout definitely have to be careful. Like, they can't like take this easy just because it is one of their stronger maps. But the thing is, I think it was always going to be the first team that beat them that maybe like wakes them up to make sure that they don't make those sort of mistakes. So it's unfortunate that happened just yesterday because they're going to want to get back on the street. Nonetheless, we are seeing an aggressive play in towards middle, looking like a split into A. Now, the CT side actually have some very good positions for this. Already managing a first pick. They don't check the sandwich. And just the trades back, Maka. That was so clean. Tapping away at their heads, leaving Oscar alone. And what a start from Heretics. That pistol round was like they basically scripted that one. And yeah, Sprout just seemed to follow along line for line.
That looked effortless from Maka. He just kind of glossed over their heads, and I've never seen something so beautiful as that before in Counter-Strike. That was lovely, at least in the past few weeks, to put it into perspective. That has been a lovely pistol round from him. Really, really clean.
On we go. Not much invested, of course, for Sprout. We know that they want to come in with the AKs in the next few rounds. So this is just going to be an attempt to do some damage. Fuffin is just getting wall hacked. He's getting sprayed through the wood. Oh, goodbye. Too quick for you. Lovely shot from Farven there just to ping the head off the first. Keo looking like he wants to go back for a little more. He's going to spot that there's nobody on this side of the map. Of course, there is a trade coming in the meantime from Maka. Sure, Navarra is going to be reeling after that one. Now they're looking like they're about to go for the double fake. So the idea here, throw a player in initially. And then the rest were meant to go in towards the A side, but it seems like Kiyoshima peeking so aggressively might have caught them off guard. So the bomb's down in apps. This is not great for Sprout, in all honesty. I don't see any chance now for them to get the bomb down. Maybe they can get a kill elsewhere, but with Keo, fairly comfortable. He's going to hear all the footsteps, and that's as easy as you like. Good resurgence. Sometimes when you lose that first player, things can start to get a little bit out of control, but it's a very good job from Heretics just to make sure. That is literally the last pixel of his face.
It's interesting that Sprout don't seem to be huge proponents of the force buy on their T side. Typically opting just to relax, take the pistols, and focus on round 3.
I think most teams are the same. It's only when the bomb goes down. If the bomb goes down, you can basically get 2 AKs, sometimes 2 Galils, depending on kills, and then 1 player on a pistol. That's worth it 100% of the time. When you don't get the bomb down, unless someone's got like 3 kills, they can't actually afford to get an AK, so it's completely worth it. This round is already, though, completely falling apart. The aggression has failed from the CT side. Their mid presence is not going too well, and the T's are already looking to dominate. I don't really know how Keo got away with that one, but he'll take that all day long. And somehow this ended up in a 3v3 after what was a flawless start to the round from Sprout.
A lot of that has to be on Keo there. It's a huge kill for him to find in what was otherwise a situation where he should be a dead man walking. Does, of course, allow him to tie things up. Sprout slightly disadvantaged because they have to go back and grab the bomb from T-steps, but thankfully they have Oscar here who can start to make some movements out towards A. Yet to be spotted from the CT player will make life just that little bit easier, as they are trying to go for a boost, but they just can't quite figure out how to get 2 players on top of a dustbin. It's a really tough challenge, but there you go. They do land it in the end, but Oscar, ready and waiting, catches his head without even a single second to spare.
It's going to make things very awkward for Lucky. Sat at the back of the site. So looking over the top, that's a nice shot. Actually, even spotting the second, he's going to get the headshot on him as well. And now Dennis, left to clutch. Bomb in a decent position for him, but he would have to peek relatively wide to be able to actually get a good spot onto the bomb. I think he's expecting players to come in from behind. Now, both are low. So even if they go at this together, it's going to be tough. Keo has the kit, so he has to try and get in. But this is what I mean. This has to be a bit of a wider peek. Otherwise, they could just try and start defusing. But Dennis, he gets the kill onto Lucky. And I think Keo may know now that there's just not enough time for him to do anything. Dennis has played this perfectly. And I don't think it mattered. I think the bomb was going to take Keo with him anyway. Good clutch from Dennis. One of the easier ones for him, I would imagine. But Sprout, that's what it takes for them to get onto the board. Unfortunately for Heretics, they don't actually have that much saved cash. Sure, only 1 player went down in the last round, but they invested more heavily into the rifles. And because of that, if they do go for a purchase here, it's actually going to be quite an awkward buy. So they're just going to save it.
Probably makes the most sense. So they're going to try and maybe do something a little aggressive towards Palace, see if they can find a rifle or 2 just to make this one a tad more competitive. But at the end of the day, it's just pistols, no Kevlar in sight. Heretics can do as much damage as they can, but there likely will be no win possible here. You see some pretty crazy shenanigans, which I don't expect we're going to find, especially given the B site is wide open. Not a single player there to defend it. Navarra will be tapping away from market, but only a quick pit stop for some groceries, nothing more, as they all begin to back away, hiding over on A.
Yeah, it looks like maybe spotting the MAC-10 or hearing it rattle off some shots might have been enough for them to realize that it's not really worth actually hunting down to try and find an AK. That was pretty damn close. Maka almost gets the kill, but I'm sure Dia will take the extra $600. The remainder of the CT side just going to be waiting in the back of apartments in towards mid. An extra kill would be nice. Might get them extra smoke in the next round, but they should be fairly comfortable in their buy. Although saying that, Navera is a bit off, and Keo probably just going to have an SMG here.
Curious to see if Maka and Navera can step up with a double orb. Both these players have shown up pretty strong across this series, but whether they can do anything here is the question. There's already the AK of Oscar. Very aggressive, and he just keeps taking the jewels. Unfortunately for him, the molly continues to spread and just makes his life a little bit harder. He ends up burning in the flames. As Dennis then gives up a second. Tom, this round has been a complete disaster from Sprout. They are literally going one by one. This is the definition of what not to do on your T side.
Yeah, the domino effect. One player falls, the rest consistently try and turn that round back and end up actually just knocking down more dominoes. Spiddy, well, it's been a while since the UMP's been in fashion. There was a time where it was almost bought over AKs. I remember Flusher just wrecking face with the but it not so common anymore. And for Spiddy, well, the rest of his team actually have a reasonable amount of cash, so even if he could just grab an AK here, try and do some extra damage, maybe save it, that'd be nice. An extra kill or two. To be fair, 4 players don't have head armor, so if he can pop a face, get an extra $600, maybe that's an extra AWP or something that can be dropped over. But instead, just going to get absolutely ruined. Great round from Heretics. It was one where they were a bit on the brink when it came to their finances, but they have managed to make it work. Now, remember, not too long ago, it was only Dennis surviving, so this is going to now be the pressure put onto the T-side economy. Both teams left in the balance here. Like it's basically this round could decide who actually gets off to the stronger start. Now, again, we're going to have Heretics with some remaining cash, but because their loss bonus has now been diminished as well, they won't be in too good a position if they lose this round. So it really is interesting. That is aggressive from Maka. Doesn't have any support here. Actually peeks out and get a kill, which is more than would have been expected. Considering the situation, that's not that bad. But at the same time, throwing away your AWP at the beginning of the round, or at least one of your AWPs, it's going to be costly. I'm not even sure that the T side expected the second. So good shot from Navera. The T's are now going to look to try and pressure in towards this B site. I wonder if that AWP is now homed in onto his position, or if it's going to be more over onto short.
I would imagine, given Keo's position, Navera, as we can see, ready and waiting for the app's play. The peak almost just a second away, and Fathom just annihilates him. What a shot. One way to open up the site. M4A1S will litter them down, but unfortunately not going to be good enough for a kill as Keo goes for long range. He can't find anything either. The B site well and truly under wraps at this point. XMS, no choice but to save.
That's surprising, considering the setup that they had. That looked like the CT side, they're going to have that one in the bag, but instead, Sprout come out swinging. AWP saved for Oscar as well. I'm sure he's going to be very happy with that upgrade. Faven even looking to try and hunt down this last man. Now, that could actually be quite integral. I'm curious to see what sort of buy is actually going to come up in the next round for Heretics, if they go for one at all. Because their money could be in a bit of an odd space. Now, you can get rifles on basically every single player, which I think that means it's going to be the buy, but it is minimal in terms of what you can get otherwise. Like, sure, you can pull it up with some Kevlar, but other than that, sure, Keo has a buy. But yeah, they're actually, I can respect this play. They're not going to go for it. And it's mainly because the next round will actually make a big difference in terms of their purchase. I will say Keo's bought down enough where the loss bonus now is going to be similar to what he would have had in this round. But the rest of the team can just eco. So it means that Maka can actually get an AWP, and the rest of the squad can actually have a reasonable buy.
This time around, given that it is just pistols, we're not really going to see too much wild CS from the Heretic side. We'll take a few duels where they can, tap a few shots through the smokes, but Sprout actually putting a lot of distance between them and their opposition here, just through to the utility. I wonder if they can maybe set XMS up to be a bit of a cannon here on short, but that's a huge what if. They are coming his way. Seems like it might actually be Oscar to lead that charge. That could be quite problematic. Oh my goodness, Navera. Double kill with the CZ. Crispy clean. Picks up the AWP. Finds Fevin as well. Goes in for more. Bites off a little more than he can chew, but XMS then fills in the gap. Somehow Heretics on the full pistols, Tom. They make this one stick.
Yeah, the AK from XMS definitely helped, but a couple of shots coming off the back of the CZ. I think that it's actually so quick that XMS actually gets that kill just from behind him. This double up on short was not expected. And then this in the end was just quite clinical from XMS. A round stolen away, and that really is the real kicker for the economy of Sprout. Finances down the drain and a chance for the French side to start to build once again. Mac is still feeling very confident here. I've not seen someone so aggressively jumping into underpass every single round. Like normally you maybe go for the jump up above to try and avoid the top mid smoke, but to just consistently jump down is quite curious, but each to their own. He's obviously with such a minimal investment here that all they can really hope for is some damage. That nade, well, unless it hit him and killed him, it couldn't have been more perfect. 95 damage. And Navera on the secondary AWP clearly having a whale of a time. 2 kills already. The bomb looking to fall right into his hands. He spotted it as well. That's so much information already gathered. Dia is going to be trying to find one on the cross to short, but Kiyoshima looking to support, and last man, only 5 HP, doesn't matter. Headshot anyway. Quick cleanup of a round, only 1 player lost, so the finances for the CT side will start to build. And Heretics are going to continue their lead.
Problem is as well for Sprout that money is kind of scrappy. They're going to have 2 SMGs in play here amongst the open rifles, so it's not the greatest buy in the world. And when you look at Heretics, they've been playing this one pretty well. I wonder if Maka goes for the drop again here. I think he's got stuck, so almost certainly won't. Does he molly himself off as well? I guess to drop the deny the quick window smoke. Problem is, there's nothing at all. Sprout using the SMGs, just want to hold W out B. But Tom, it's not working. The apocalypse has come in the shape of the Heretics. They are landing every single shot. Maka just filling in the gaps that his rifles cannot. This is looking perfect from the CT side.
Wow, an absolutely flawless round as well. The B side seems like a bit of a haven for Heretics, as it really does seem like a struggle for Sprout to actually break in. It's been a bit of a quiet performance from them. Now, up until yesterday, they were 13-0 on this map over the last few months. Lost to Big yesterday, changed that. Hopefully that won't have revealed a chink in their armor, because that would be a bit of a problem. They would be losing their chance to go straight into the playoffs. Of course, the winner of this does just that. Vera, fairly aggressive position. Now, not wanting to overface it. He's got the Molotov to defend him off, and the start from Lucky, who, again, seems to be performing to a very high standard. Bomb just going to be left in the back of spawn, and a little bit of a gather up onto the ramp. Going to be spotted. Might be able to be a little bit sneaky through the connector, but Lucky, the timing couldn't be better. Just as Dennis rounds the corner.
I think his name checks out.
Oh, there you go. This is looking very good for Heretics. We expected a lot more from Sprout. As of right now, it seems like the CT side have themselves the momentum.
It's also just a couple of crucial rounds, though, when you think about it. Like, winning that pistol round there sets them up for 2 rounds off the back of that. Like, we've seen a lot of just weird shenanigans in this game where Heretics have been able to pick things up they otherwise shouldn't have had any say in. I think that's actually the 2nd pistol win for Heretics now, is it not?
Yeah, they had one in the last map for sure.
So it's just, yeah, it's crazy to see that in these maps they're able to make these kind of more odd rounds work. And this time, rather than Maka getting aggressive, it's Keo flying straight up through mid, forces the issue on Spiddy. Look at XMS, just shoulder peeking off of ramp. It's a very confident Heretic side, which likely is A, dictated by the scoreline. Look, they're 7-3 up. Who wouldn't be confident? And B, I think they actually came into this one quite well prepared. They seem to know exactly how to play this right now and how to really stop Sprout from blowing up.
They're just not allowing them to set up into their rounds. That's the issue. Like, they can't really get too much done. They're so ready for a lot of the pushes as well. Already a two-man advantage once again. This buy round is looking flat from Sprout. French side, on the other hand, have looked superb once again. Bomb going to be stuck on ramp. Dia not had much impact in this game at all. 21 ADR. Also, interestingly, they just brought up the entry frag stats. Every single player in the game had an entry frag except Oscar. That's what you want from your Opera on the T side, especially. Get you an opener. Find you a pick. He's been absent. Luckily, Faven has been able to get one, but there's still another player deep within the site. They Molotov out XMS. He needs to at least get a kill. He does a lot of damage, but that kill is worth its weight in gold, even still through the smoke. Keo gets one, but the AWP from Oscar has found the return, and now the double AWP set up in a retake. Definitely not ideal. They basically need some mistakes to be made, some peaks to be taken from the T's, but look how passive they've become. One man in the palace, one man on the ramp. Oscar just looking to hide back, basically try and help on the cross. They're actually going for it with the AWPs, and he peeks out. That might be the mistake that cost them. Faven, he's given away his position, and actually just going to go straight for the peak. This is a risky fight to take. His position is known. Navera, I don't know if there's anything he can do here. I think he's running out of time. This looks like a round firmly in the favor of the side of Sprout. Even still, only Navera survives as he kills off every remaining player of this Sprout side. It is a victory for them, but it cost them a lot.
But that's the thing now. We have to look towards Heretics again and go, okay, you've dropped the ball there. It came down to a one-on-one clutch in all the defense. If they can pick this round up, again, it's Sprout on a broken economy moving forward, and you can start to see why Heretics are actually in the position they're in. It's because they've constantly berated Sprout in these rounds, constantly pushing the back and saying, great, you've got one, we're going to trade that round now and leave you with nothing left. So much utility. This could be so painful. The nades are looking so good. Already the first pick comes through. Kiyoshima doing the work as well. Finally, something in favour of the T side, but then they walk into Navera. He smites them down with the AWP. Left, right, good night for him. This is exactly my point. Sprout now have no money left in the bank, Tom.
They can't go B. They just can't. Every time they've gone B, they've been shut down, and the defense wasn't like it was stacked up or anything. That was just dominant from the two CT players that were actually there. Navera on the AWP, you can see why they're bringing in the secondary so often. It's expensive. It's very expensive, but it works almost every single time. 101 ADR for an AWP, that's not that common. Normally, AWPs don't earn you that much because you're not really tagging too many players, but he's just been so good at getting the kills that it becomes very difficult. The T straight back down to pistols once again. Well, that's mainly because the one round they won was off the back of no players surviving a 1v2 clutch. Of course, for Faven. But that's not something that's easily recreated. Dia has managed to get himself a little bit further out. Nice shot from the pole. We'll dome out Kiyoshima. I don't know if they'll expect a second player in this exact same spot, though. They are going to look to try and split in through the connector. Dennis. Hello, that's a second dig. Now Lucky's the only man actually anywhere near the A side. He goes down as well. Sprout have just sprung into life. A nice couple of shots. Maka might just have to look for the exits here. They don't want to give them any AWPs. That would be such a risk. Okay, he's got the hops, that's for sure. It's not easy to do that. Make a flawless bounce through, but it's also not as easy just to get your head popped. A free AWP. Navera just going to be trying to hold on to the one he's got. And Sprout, well, they've got a pistol round in their locker.
This game is ridiculous. It really is. Sprout should have no say in that round, but they come flying in with deagles, and some of those shots are nutty. I wish we had Deitch's second kill. Looked like he did a basically 90-degree flick from ramp to jungle and landed it perfectly.
Well, the deco pays off. See, this is tough. Like, this little hop, they didn't show it. The little hop through the murder hole without, like, without being slowed down is basically you're hitting a perfect bunny hop through the murder hole. It's tough to do. It was so risky, though. Even with pulling that off, there's a very high chance you get domed, especially when you're holding an AWP. But they do still have enough money to buy into this one. Oscar will have his AWP for free. We'll see if he's able to come alive. Spiddy as well. 32 ADR. That is not ideal. Been a quiet performance across the board, but they still have 5 rounds. It's not the be-all and end-all. There's still a possibility to get up to 7, and considering how dominant a lot of these rounds have been, I think Sprout would be very happy with that. The CTs have definitely been the better side so far, but if it ends 8-7 and you've not been performing that well,
you'd be over the moon, surely.
Something to take home. Yeah, you'd be able to go into the second half and basically just go, hey, that's really not that bad. Either way.
You can forget about it, basically. I think it's an important point. You don't have to worry. Get the pistol. You're already in a better position to close the game. So if Heretics want to put Sprout on the spots here, they have to start claiming these rounds, and that is not the way to start the show, let alone that as well. Spiddy Deitcher, both of them getting early picks. We do see the trade coming from Keo, but I don't think this is going to be looking too good here for Heretics. Lucky has to step up and be a hero, and unfortunately he's just not got it in him. Such a tough spot. Just doesn't make it work.
And once again, they're going to be left with 2 AWPs and a retake if they are going to be going for this. Now, the money's not ideal for the next round, but I think this is worth it. Try and get yourself that 10-5 half. It seems like they might just give it up. They have been quite reliant on the double AWP setup, so I can understand either way. Just going to want to keep them in and go for the 9-6. But yeah, Sprout's starting to grind these out. Dia has come alive. Like, he was very, very quiet in the early rounds, but the 2 deags he managed to get in the last round, the entry kills he's got into this one, that's important, especially going into the next half. Like, you want your star performer to be playing well. And while it's him and Farven, really, that I think are the best players in that squad. Of course, you've got Oscar Orping, but those are the 2 players I think are most important for Sprout. 8-6, as said, the CT side comfortably buying in the next round, but Sprout, I think they're showing why they're such a good Mirage team, because even when it doesn't look like things are particularly going well for them, they're still very resilient. They're still able to grind out rounds, even if they don't look quite as flashy or as dominant as the ones that the French side have managed to pull out. They still show that, okay, we can take a round off you, even when we're up against it.
That's the beauty of the Sprout side, who are demonstrating experience, I think. That's where it comes from. It's just knowing the ins and outs of the map and having good fundamentals to fall back on as a team, so that when things aren't working, you just know what you need to do. Also doesn't help, though, to have a few players who are starting to pop off. Spiddy, again, another opening jewel here, one for him as he gets creative with his mid peak, just leveraging those back dumpsters in mid to get the height advantage, and well, catches them by surprise. Now Dennis in window. Kiyoshima has no idea. That's a good nade and a good flash. Leaves Lucky completely blind. This is just looking flawless from Sprout.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from, but I guess the last few rounds have been them building back into the match, and all the early success has quickly diminished. Surely Nivera can't get this shot. No chance. Oscar ready on the angle. Great comeback from Sprout, though. That was looking like a really dominant half from Heretics, but even after winning a lot of rounds very cleanly and having all the money to continue to buy, Sprout just slowly but surely get themselves back into the match. They win 4 of the last 5, the last 3 in a streak. And we end up going from a 7-3 scoreline, or even 8-4, all the way back to an 8-7. And that's not bad whatsoever. Also, Dia, Dennis, even Oscar a little bit, starting to rise to the occasion. And going into the CT side, where you see the spread of frags start to basically improve a little bit, that's going to be important for them.
Very interested to see what Heretics will be able to do in the second half now, because they started obviously so strong, even after a couple of rounds being sort of brought back and forth. In the end, I'd say that was a very solid half from them, at least when you sort of look back to round 9 and sort of earlier than that, but they seem to really struggle to close it out. If they can get a good start here, perhaps they can try and build off that and still compete for a victory, but my concern is that Sprout just seem to have turned it up a notch.
Yeah, they've definitely got plenty in their locker when it comes to this map. And going on to the CT side, that's where I expect to see more from the likes of Oscar. I think he's going to make things very difficult for them, especially when it comes to the challenge into middle. Even going to be facing off there in the pistol round. CT side actually gambling quite heavily into this B site. He's looking for the face and short. Lucky's done quite a lot of damage to Oscar. And he is just taking those fights. Now the T's have to get going now. They've lost their man in the middle. The second that happens, you need to start your execution because you know that there's going to be players pushing elsewhere on the map for information. Cross going to be held. Nice shot to get rid of Oscar. That will be the opener they need. And the CT player just falling back. Diha about to come under pressure. They want to remove him from this spot, but there's 3 CT players coming from that direction. The start out gets the opener. Already 2 for Sprout, but the trades come back, in fact, leaving it all onto Nevera. A 1 versus 2, very much possible. There is a kit. 1 player without armor. He's got that trusty P250, looking for those 1 taps. Trying to bait them in, out position. That smoke is going to make things difficult, but the kill should be a little bit easier. Dennis just waiting for the peak to come out, and that was the Ferrari peak. What a shot. Peak headshot ability, and so fast on the trigger. Fantastic round from the Belgian player.
Yeah, it looks a little messy at the start, doesn't it? But what a way to close it out. And that gives Heretics that strong start that they were hoping to get now. Of course, this time, Sprout straight in with that CT4, so we're going to see the SMGs come through, the scout from Oscar as well. And it looks like Heretics are just going to rinse repeat what they've previously done. The only difference here now is just a lot more utility put into play towards A. Well, that nade should finish him off. Really nicely done with a quick duel in mid. Lucky can now try and escape, hopefully. Losing Keo, not great though, as Dicha plays very close to ramp here. Should be able to find Nevera as well, and no way to respond. That's a disaster for this T side.
Yeah, Dia, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing him playing well again. I was a little bit worried for Sprout when he had a slow start. Dennis has just spotted a man sneaking in the corner. Nice try, Lucky. XMS is still standing though, and so are the AKs. That's the most important thing. You've got the rifles, clinical shot. I say AKs, AK. As another player will be dropped off the back of the scout. An aggressive position is going to leave XMS's rifle not quite as valuable as you might think. And he does the damage, expects the second peek and hits the headshot as well. It's left into the 1v1. Farven with his deagle. 40 seconds left for XMS to play with. This is a huge round for him to try and make work. He's going to be lurking through the palace. Making his way forward. Has a singular flashbang, but it's basically just trying to play into the timing. And I think Faven's going to quickly realize that he has to be coming in from behind. That's all the information the German needs. He should now know that the only possibility is for him to come from the ramp. And with 14 seconds left, XMS needs to just grab this and run. And he should be able to get there. Farven just going to look to try and come in from behind. Plant will be going down on default. That at least puts the time ticking in XMS's favor. And I think he should know that Faven is on this ramp. It won't matter, though. Even hits the headshot at the end. An AK saved. A big round for Sprout. And they're not out of this one just yet.
This is going to be the round that sets them up now. You can just see they're feeling it. Every single player right now. Dicha especially just opening up these rounds. I think Heretics are... They're starting to get kicked and punched, and it's looking like they've not got much left here. We'll have to see, of course, the gun rounds play through, but when you just look at the CS that we've seen at a high level, the past sort of 8-9 rounds, this really hasn't been too good for Heretics. They have to show us something on their gun rounds here early on their T side, otherwise you might as well have the referee counting, as this map may well be done. I mean, look at this as well. It's just, what, an AK, you've got a couple of pistols thrown in as well, but a singular rifle versus the world. Not a positive situation at all.
Well, still, I don't doubt the French team can pull this round off. The French and Deagles have been something that go very well together for years. Spitty actually just misses the timing. That might give him a little bit of false information. Oscar will at least be able to drop that AK-47, but it goes into Maka's hands. Oscar with the second, though, and now Dia stepping up for the third. It's left all onto XMS. Nice shot for one, and the second too. Looking for that third player, XMS. He is looking clutch at the moment. He's back into a 1v1 once again, and the same result. He's just caught off by the last player's position. XMS, I feel bad for him now. That's 2 attempts and 2 really nice tries. NTs have to go into the chat, but ultimately, it's another round on the board for Sprout.
Certainly looked like something, didn't it? But unfortunately not going to be the case. This should be the lead for Sprout now as well, because of course just Glocks in play. Looks like it will be a be all in. Thankfully Dennis has some support, so it shouldn't be too bad. They actually go for the deep molly just to make sure it won't be an aggressive rush towards the site. Can you imagine just walking around a corner into that? 5 terrorists standing there with Glocks.
Oh, Spitty might be about to get some company. He is watching for this. This could be an issue. There's actually no one on A. They pushed all the way through ramp. This should be a bomb plant, although Faven in a good position. Tech9 able to do enough. And the bomb has been dropped, so that should mean enough time is there for the CTs to deny it. Very close to Dennis going down as well, but Sprout, they convert that round. Not bad for a round with just a Tech9 and a Deagle, though. To get 2 kills is really not the end of the world. And now we can see the Heretics look to buy back into this one. 10-9 in favor of Sprout. They've got themselves the lead. Oscar not going to have his AWP just yet. But this is the buy we were waiting for.
Really need to see some sort of sign of light now from this T side. Make use of the 5 AKs. Hasn't really been that great of a start for them after all. XMS will get a duel to work with. Actually gets the shoulders. He gets the advantage by just knowing for sure that he's there and does win it out. So at least an opening pick for this T side. But what more can they do with it? Looks like we may see a duel take some shape towards A Palace, depending on if Chill wants to get aggressive. Decides, in fact, you know what, let me just smoke it off. Play it rather passively. Sprout not opting to give up another duel here, just in case it did turn into a 5-on-2. That's not a frag you should find. Surely.
Hello. Dia right through the smoke is going to get the kill. Onto Maka. Actually, they're going to go aggressive right into where the teams are currently waiting. Do they expect the second? Spitty tries his best, but it's only one. And now they have this A site under their control. Dennis, quick on the rotation, but he's flashed off. Well-timed utility will hold him back that little bit longer, but he headshots him straight through the smoke. Are they going to go for the same plant? That's so risky. That is so risky, but it pays off. They've got the plant they wanted. It's open for the ramp. Even still, though, the 2v2 ensues. A scout for Oscar is not ideal, but both players actually tagged a little bit. Could be enough to get him a kill with a single shot. The more important thing is the time ticking. They don't have a kit available. Navera wins that first, and of course he hits the headshot onto the second as well. He has already made me a fan, and this is the first time I've actually watched him play. A 10-10 scoreline. Heretics even things up once more, and the buy in the next round, if they go for it from Sprout, it's going to be dicey.
Beer's impact is just...
He's not even primary up.
That's the thing, you can't help but knock him, though. he's putting in the work right now.
Primary up, he's got 12 AWP kills. kid's a beast. Of course he is. Runs in his blood. I don't like being one of those people that makes reference to someone's brother, but like, it's just not fair. Like, what, can I like join their family? Can I learn the one tap ability? Is there, there's just something there? Can I be adopted by Scream? It would be nice. Maybe I'd finally be good at Counter-Strike, because right now, definitely not the case. But once again, XMS, he is performing in this match. Another player who I feel like had a hard time in some of the previous teams, but it just seems like whatever model is being run by Heretics, they seem to get the best out of their players. It's great to see Kiyashima back. And with young talent coming through this roster, I'm hoping that they get to hold on to everyone. That's basically what I'm looking for. I hope they get to keep all of these players and can actually look to build forward. I think they'll be exciting in the road to Rio, that's for sure. Well, Spiddy almost got the timing right, but not so lucky with the man behind him. Oscar, of course, did actually invest into the glass cannon. This is what I was talking about when I said about the buy. It was going to be dicey if they went for it. Of course, next round wouldn't have given them much more, but I think it might have been a slightly better purchase. Of course, it's very easy to talk about what could have happened in hindsight. But I think this Heretics team is very likable. I think that's the way to put it. Like, the Counter-Strike they play is exciting. Yeah, they do have some good talent. But I mean, in terms of like, if you're a fan of obviously French Counter-Strike, it's very easy to lean towards like, okay, sure, it's not fully French, but like G2, you've got the likes of Kenny S. Jax has been someone who's been on the rise for a while. Obviously, if you look towards your Vitalities, you've got someone like Zaiwu. But this team, just like the Counter-Strike they play, is very enjoyable. It's got levels of aggression. They like to switch up the timings. They've got different players popping up every single round. But also the players they've got, I think they're players that, at least from my perspective, I want them to succeed. You've got the brother of one of the greatest Counter-Strike players to ever touch the game. Someone who has thousands and thousands of fans. You've got the likes of Kiyashima, who's someone who always seems to be left out of the top teams when he probably deserves to be in a better spot. You've got both Lucky, XMS, who have been in the top rosters and it hasn't worked for them. They've come back and they've helped to build this one. And Maka, again, someone who has had opportunities, but they never seem to really work. And they throw this like almost band of misfits together and it works. Like, they play fantastic Counter-Strike. It's exciting and it's enjoyable. So I'm loving it. I'm enjoying watching them. And it's the same for Sprout on the other side. Like, they've been in different top teams, like a couple of them Mouse Sports. Oscar obviously was right at the top not too long ago. Dia tried to make it work in a Polish team. Faven has been on the rise for a while. It's great to see teams like this where they play enjoyable Counter-Strike. They're only getting better and better. And yeah, them facing off against each other has been a really enjoyable experience. Now, in this round at least, Oscar's got to go big, but we've seen him do it time and time again. This man on a hero AWP has been able to be the hero many a time, and maybe we'll get to see a little bit more from him here. I'm seeing some aggressive pushes in towards the apartments, but it is looking like they're about to split in the direction of that AWP.
Unfortunately for Dennis, not able to find anything early on, but Oscar, the man of the hour.
Oh,
not gonna happen.
Oh dear.
My question is for Heretics, do you save the AWP now, or do you stick to this 5 rifle play?
I'll be honest, with the way that they seem to play, I would rather they stayed with the 5 rifles, because they're very quick to, like, not necessarily at the beginning of the round, but they're very quick when they decide what their strategy is to make their move. Like, if you know they were building up for a little bit of the round, and then they split into the B side, like in 10 seconds, they're all there, all over the site. And that's what I mean when I say, like, this team seems to have the fundamentals down to a T. Like, whoever is calling, whatever the decision is made, everybody's following. It's like a general with his soldiers. Like, they just seem to be instantly ready for whatever is going to be called upon. And I think that's rare in CS. Like, you have a lot of up-and-coming teams with a lot of talent, but it never seems to work necessarily in that way. A couple of kills came in at the end of that round for Sprout. So they've done a little bit of extra damage. They didn't manage to retrieve any of the rifles from what I can see, and you can see that the CT side buy is still sketchy. Only a few grenades, a singular kit. Most players without head armor, but that's not so much of an issue when you're coming up against AKs. And they are still going to go for an aggressive peek with this AWP. Oscar challenged. He's just going to hold the angle. He wants to try and pre-fire and get a kill. Silence then falls accurate, but he's just going to have to fall off the angle and allow mid-control to go the way of Heretic.
With full mid-control, it gives you a lot of options here, has to be said. You can either try and use that to reverse take short control, get yourself up there to split towards B. You can come through connector. You can do something wacky through window. It really does open up a significant piece of Mirage. It's very reminiscent of Cash and the mid is just so crucial. You see our first duel take shape. Maka in a great spot here as well, as he's going to try and get aggressive, actually proactively looking for that kill. But Favon says no, ready and waiting. Catches the headshot as that leaves Keo now to secure a trade of his own. Knows the position of that site player, but unfortunately, Favon starts tagging him up before he can find Dennis. This round starts to fall apart as it becomes the Lucky and Navera show. Scratch that, Lucky dead to rights.
Oh. I wonder if this is just a save. If you look at the rest of the team especially, everybody has a purchase except for Navera, so he doesn't really have a choice. I think without picking up the bomb, it was quite obvious for the last 30 seconds or so that he was just going to be looking to hold on to his gun. And the CT side are going to allow him to. Well, we said at the beginning of this round, their buy wasn't anything too impressive, missing utility, no AWP. And so they just want to hold on to their guns too. Favon will retrieve one at the last moments for Oscar to play within the next round, which should develop their mid-control a little bit better. But just as the last map, it's going to be as close as it can be. Both teams really trying to take this one down to the wire. Tees should have a decent buy into this round as well. I think it took them a moment to realize that XMS actually needed a gun. And they have brought the AWP back into this one. It hasn't been too effective so far. I think the faster plays... Well, it hasn't been effective on this T side, I should say. It was very effective on the CT side. But, yeah, the faster plays seem to be what's working for them. And they're going to be gathering up for an execution on towards this A site. Oscar in the back lines, two other players to help him. But it's the picked up by Heretics.
He needs to get aggressive, retake Palace control. Then I love that, because then it means that he can now just wreak havoc on this T side from an angle which they otherwise they don't really be worrying about. Spiddy on the site will be traded away, but D is still the problem here. What are they going to do about him as he springs back into action once more, just single-handedly shutting down the round? What a time to come alive. See the nade he throws here as well. There's so much damage.
These are the sort of players is the reason that I think that Sprout actually went international. Because I remember when I was in Atlanta for DreamHack, I actually spoke to the general manager of Sprout. Very lovely guy. And he was saying that they want to keep this team German. They wanted to hold on to Season and Keto, of course. And obviously, once that didn't happen, I think they were still looking to try and keep this a German roster. But when you have the opportunity to pick up players like Oscar and like Diha, you do it. There is a reason why Sprout have gone back to being an international roster, and these two players were worth the risk. Of course, they've done it before. They had NATO and Percy, of course, in previous rosters of Sprout. But they went back to it just because these guys are so damn good at Counter-Strike. And we're going to see a switch up in play. Once again, just pistols for Heretics. But they have had a relatively decent amount of success. But I like this from Diha. Just wrecking face. Absolutely clinical. Now, he had a very slow start to the game. I think he was had like 1 of 4 or something like that. He is now sat with over 100 ADR. He is killing it. And he is one of the main reasons that Sprout now sit in the lead, looking to try and take this map and take us overall to a third.
He really has come alive, especially in the second half. And it's not just kills that have been filler kills. Because sometimes you look at a player and go, oh, they dropped 30, but he aced twice against pistols. These have been real, just hard impact kills from D here. Look at last round, the double kill, also the damage done with the nade. Previous rounds, he's picked up single important frags to open things up. It's just straight impact from him. It's exactly what you want from a player. Now stuck in a bit of a tight spot. Let's see how he can worm his way out of this one. Spots out a player, but unfortunately tries to go for the spray transfer and it just doesn't quite come together. Faven tries to deny the plant, but won't be able to get away with it. But he does get 2 kills for his trouble, supported of course by Oscar's frag grenade. Maka gets very aggressive. Okay, Chief. What a way to find the round. Maka swings back-to-back headshots.
Oh, it just seems like who can pull off the best clutch play at the moment. It is a sick couple of kills. That is a wonderful transition. And yeah, they're just going toe-to-toe. Who is going to come out with the best clutch clip at the end of the game? I genuinely don't know at this point. 13-13. Actually going to be a secondary up onto Dia. No, he's been someone who's been able to pick it up in the past. I definitely sort of stick him in that category of out-and-out star, where I don't think there's anything that Dia can't do. Like well, basically it's easier to start naming things he can't do than go through all the things he can. We'll be here all day. Quick push into the B site. That's the goal for Heretics. Put the pressure on. Oscar doesn't connect his initial shot, but he has support from Faven. Dennis just lurking in the back lines will be there to close this round out. It's left onto Navera. He was looking to try and just hold the players in from behind. He spots out Dennis, but there's nothing he can do. Good setup. 3 players on the B site. A good read coming out from Sprout in that round. And once again, unfortunately for Heretics, their money doesn't really allow for anything here. Maybe a pistol or 2, unless they really were just going to go all in. Maybe get some Galils.
That's the unfortunate problem for them. Because they win that clutch round in round 26, going into round 27 there and then dropping the ball and just getting crushed by Dennis leaves them with nothing here to fight for. And you look at the scoreline, that doesn't bode well. This will put Sprout almost certainly on their 15th. Requiring 2 flawless buys from Heretics, which is... Well, it's not something we've seen recently, is it, to be honest, Tom? It's been a lot of one-off rounds here and there that have worked, and well, asking for 2 perfect buys seems like a whole lot. Well, they'll try and make the best of it with pistols here. They do get the site in their defense, so maybe, just maybe, there might be something.
Even this alone is fairly impressive, but Oscar, he gets all 3 kills within a matter of seconds. Helped out by Dennis, of course, before he went down, but all in all, not a bad round. In isolation, you would say that that's still fairly successful for Heretics to get the 2 kills needed to open up the B side and get a bomb plant to earn that extra cash. But that was, of course, the Oscar show. He gets himself a quad. 15-13. Maybe getting identical score lines here as we saw Heretics win the last map in a similar fashion. We do have a 4 buy-in for the T side, though. That's what has been the beneficiary of that bomb plant, is that they're going to have plenty of cash for this one. Dia, I don't know if his ult will be expected, and it is going to be the opener coming up. Maka is gone. It's actually going to be the nade that finishes him.
That's the beautiful thing about that, is he actually gets the leg shot because of the boost in play. So without that nade, that's not a kill, and he's probably likely dead, to be honest. So his teammate who throws the nade, kind of the MVP there, to be honest, because he saves his life and guarantees the first pick.
Well, I think that's definitely something planned. If that's an angle that they're using more often than not, I think they probably have had it enough times now that, okay, I haven't got the kill, so let's make sure that there's something to follow up just to make sure in case it is a leg shot. Oscar already adding a 2nd to the death toll, leaving us in a 5 versus 3. Heretics clinging to life here. It's been a good match from them, but unfortunately, the few rounds they let slip at the end of the last half might be enough for Sprout to finish this. Strutting their stuff on the CT side once again. Now, Lucky is going to be able to find a pick with the AWP. Boost looking to come up. They're hunting for Oscar, and that's who they find. leaving Dennis in the apartments. It's going to be a rotation back quickly. Faven just throwing every single piece of utility he's got to try and slow them down. Dennis, he reveals his position with a kill. XMS again, these clutches is where he seems to thrive. He's looking for this player, but he's not going to get it. And now XMS has to clutch this out, making sure there's no one pushing him from behind. And that's the first kill. He's had multiple failed clutches. Can he keep them in it? No, he cannot. Unfortunately, he just can't close out any of these clutch rounds. And although it's very close in the end, Sprout are going to take us to a third and final map. We'll be back after a short break to conclude this matchup and see who makes their way through to the playoffs.
Going through the smoke walk. She's gonna go down. Walks in with the AW.
Position, Earthshaker's moving in as well. Echo Slam connects on the 2. Back row tire down as well.
Red always wins the brawl. Or can we cast the cursor? There we go.
Lootbet.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to Lootbet to cash out now.
I will never forget Snacks doing that with the sauna. Like that's the most fun you can have on this map. And also, one of the players to watch in this match is Oscar and his XM. Now, that is something that he has done for quite a while. I wonder how much has been brought over to Sprout, because it was something he always did on mouse sports. It was even a map that, in the past, like I remember on mouse sports, he actually did an AWP this map. Chris J did. So I imagine that's not really so much of an option now, because there's not so much of a secondary. But I guess Dia could do it if he really wanted to. So maybe that's something that they'll throw in. But yeah, Oscar never really seemed to AWP on this map. He would actually just XM in the hut. So I'm hoping we'll get a little bit more of that. He was one of the advocates for the XM. He's not the OG. For anybody who doesn't know, the OG XM player is Hiko. Hiko is the man that brought that into fashion. It is a good gun on this map. If you've not picked it up before, very simple. All you got to do, pick up an XM, 2K well spent, 3K obviously with armor, and then you get on top of the hut and you start wrecking face from anyone who comes through the door or through the hut as well. Very good gun to have. I'm expecting as well that Heretics will bring in some SMGs. Again, that's something that I feel like French teams have done quite a lot in the past. I think it was Devil had one of the weirdest strategies I ever saw on Inferno. And it was, they would get to like $4,500 on the CT side, but they wanted to make sure they had all the utility. So what they would do is, for one of the rounds where they had like a decent amount of loss bone, I think it was like round 3 going into round 4, they would buy up SMGs and just run down banana or mid. And if they won the round, it gives them a load of economy. And if they lose the round, then they buy up with an AWP and all of the rifles in the next round. It was insane, but I'd like to keep it different. And that was something that I think a lot of these like more scrappy French teams that haven't necessarily made it to the tier 1 stage just yet, they like to throw in a few like abstract ideas. And as I said, I expect to see some SMGs around the hut, maybe some shotguns as well, and something that you wouldn't necessarily see on too many other maps, but on new.
That's what we like to see though as spectators as well, isn't it? It's out of the box Counter-Strike, things you don't typically always see. Exactly, right? We want to see different play, otherwise you're just watching the same Counter-Strike all the time. So nice to see teams that are willing to change it away from your sort of quote-unquote tier 1 meta. Of course, folks, there is a quick technical issue that looks like it is being resolved right now on the side of Heretics. They have an internet issue, it seems. One of their players currently doesn't have internet, or is lagging significantly.
What do you mean? We've got Phil Dumphy. He's ready to play. He's looking to sub in right now. Good old Phil.
Tell me about Phil's history in Counter-Strike, Tom. What has Phil been up to in the CS space recently?
Oh, well, he's always great at filling gap.
That was horrendous. I'm not even going to give you that. That was...
To be honest, like, his performance really depends on the way he feels.
Would you say he's feeling good about this game?
Who knows? Who knows? It depends on the day. But yeah, if sometimes he has to cling to life, and then he's a cling Phil.
Yeah, this might be a bit of a stretch now at this point. You're trying to fill too much time.
What, you're not happy with a cling film joke? God, Ryan, do you know how hard it is to make a cling film joke?
Oh, we get it, Tom. You're just trying to fill all that time.
Yeah, well, hopefully the technical issue will be resolved relatively soon. But yeah, I think this is going to be a decent match, to say the least. Obviously, both teams looking to try and make it through to the playoffs. It does make things a little bit easier, less matches to play. Like, especially as you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of online Counter-Strike coming up over the next few months. And although it's definitely good to get the practice in, it's nice to get to the playoffs without having to play an extra couple of best of 3s, because that's always been the thing in the past with Swiss, especially with LAN tournaments, is it was best of 1s. So sure, you'd play a fair amount of matches, but it would be quite quick. Now, I'm not saying that's good, but at least if you have a jam-packed day full of different tournaments, you want to basically not have to play multiple best of threes every day. But whichever team manages to just make it straight through to the playoffs, they're going to be quite happy with that. Okay, we've gone 3-0, we played 3 best of threes. Whereas some of the other teams, or the loser of this, will have to play 4 minimum, 5 potentially. And yeah, it's going to make things all the more tough for the schedule in general. And yeah, with stuff like Road to Rio coming up, like there's going to be more and more matches to be played. I'm really excited for that to come up. Like that is basically a chance for a lot of teams to basically play versus some of the best. I think, of course, it's a shame that it's unfortunate for some of the teams that had to obviously give up their spot, basically, like the teams that were already in the legend status. It's also going to be interesting for some of the ones that have moved abroad, for example. Like if you take Contact, for example, they're going to have to play. I think, at least from the last time I saw it, they're going to play the NA qualifier, which arguably I would say that that's better for them. But you do have to remember that the top North American teams are also going to be in that qualifier as well. So them getting their legend spot back might be quite difficult. But I think there's probably more of an opportunity than making their way through the European qualifier, which is going to be absolutely stacked. Teams like Na'Vi probably going to be quite happy. But by the looks of things, people have had enough of me waffling. We're going to be going to a short break. Hopefully the tech issue will be resolved soon. And come back afterwards. turn of events if Sprout go on and just win this outright, because Lucky, well, not so much, I guess, is not going to be able to play this one. Having internet problems, I don't know what the scenario is if his internet comes back online during the match. I don't know if he's allowed to come back. I kind of hope he is, but yeah, instead we got Biggie. Of course, the coach for Heretics has been a professional player in the past, but yeah, well, we won't delve too deep into that one. If you want to go to Liquipedia and have a look at the reasons why that didn't go down so well, some of you probably already know. But yeah, we're gonna go into our pistol rounds. It's gonna be the CT side start for Heretics at least, and at least it is someone who will know a lot of their executes, a lot of their strategies already. It's just gonna put a lot more pressure on some of the other players. Good start already in the pistol round, but they do get dinked up, and Navera is going to be forced back down the ramp already with 7 HP. The T's are going to put the pressure on.
A couple taps come through, but nothing really landing for the CT side as they just make big, wide swings, forcing these open duels for the USPs. It's just not working out too well. As next in the coffins, albeit Kiyoshima leaving just XMS. And now Biggie to do all the work, who does find the tap on Dennis, so puts himself in a 1-on-2. An opportunity to put himself back in the spotlight here as he can try and find a clutch. Swings open the door, knows where the bomb's now planted, so at least there's that nugget of information, but unfortunately, oblivious to the fact that DJ is right above him. Will be a quick and easy round for Sprout in the end, as they start off strong with a pistol in the back.
Well, they did manage to dominate when it came to that ramp position, and now they're going to be able to invest into this one. The CT side could go for the force buy just to make sure that they are able to get the AWP. But by the looks of it, they just want to get that early buy. Get back onto the board as soon as possible. Don't allow Sprout any more free rounds. There's going to be a very fast play towards that vent from Dia. It means that if they do decide to split down the ramp, he's going to have the flank controlled. And Dennis, actually wrapping all the way around the outside, is going to find a lot of information about where the CTs are not. And Dia, well, ambitious. We know that shooting on ladders doesn't really work. Definitely doesn't work with a Galil.
He's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place here because he wants to come up, but he just can't because they're all ready and waiting. So Dennis has to come in, clear the way. B with the rifle might be given an opportunity, but the answer is no. Diha takes him down, leaving just Navera, who once more takes the wide swing. But that was just pistols in play for the CT side. They made that very costly with very little spend.
Well, now the buy comes back up. Maka can actually afford a glass cannon AWP, so it isn't the worst scenario in the world, but they do have some pieces missing from their utility. Also, head armor missing, which won't play too much of a part, but the Galil might be able to get a cheeky one tap instead. Sprout now with a big opportunity in this match. We're going to see them lining up the smokes to take control of that outer portion of the map. Potentially, just maybe going to hit into the upper spot. There aren't going to be any incendiaries to hold them back. And only a singular kit onto the coach, so chances are it's going to be a tough hold for the remaining CT players. Molotovs being lined up to bounce back through the windows. It will clear a lot of the positions and utilize a lot of those smokes already. Looking for the opener. Kio's going to go down. XMS trying to hold on the site, but Farvan's found both entry kills, and every single player from Heretics has just fallen. Left Navera 1 versus 5. This is a save if ever I've seen one. And that is one hell of a start to this by Sprout.
It's very clean as well. Every single duel they took was this really sort of clinical fight where it was always, we know exactly where you're going to be standing, we're going to get the easy headshot and leave you with no opportunity to fight us back. That's the sort of decisive Counter-Strike Sprout want to be starting with here, just to make sure they close out this series. Because, I mean, let's be totally honest for a second. Sprout are probably feeling really good right now. Who wouldn't be? Your opponent has just been forced to use a substitute player who naturally, at no fault of his own, is going to be a weaker player individually than their main talent, Lucky. For a number of reasons, whether that's raw aim, or through just actually playing the game with his team and knowing how they play. So, Sprout going to be in a very confident position. And not only can you see that in their play, mentally that's going to be something they're going to be thinking about as they go through this first half. They just want to rack up as many rounds as physically possible before Lucky returns. It's a blunt way to put it, but I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think they're going to be losing any sleep over winning this match. They might feel a little bit bad for their opponent, but a win's a win. And they started off strong. They started off on the T side as well, which, if anything, makes things a little bit worse. Like, at least on the opposing side, you could send him in as a little bit of cannon fodder, finding out information as to where some of the remaining players are. Even just group up and play as a unit with Biggie able to help with the calling a little bit. But instead, starting on the CT side, leaves them a little bit isolated. Now they're going to get aggressive into the lobby. The Ts are actually still holding outside. Spiddy just waiting to see if there is any sort of aggression. He's going to spot XMS. A little bit wary for somebody coming up on the roof, but this ultimately doesn't have much of an effect on the play. It is going to be the push coming, wrapping around in from heaven. Dennis looking to just clear all of these remaining positions. They know that the hut's been taken. Spiddy's been feeding them information all the way through. And now the A site's going to be firmly under their control. Just one man that they have to deal with. And eventually that's exactly what they do.
Maka should be able to get himself that rifle, so at least there's that for him. If Keo can then find something as well, he's going to be in a great spot. And he's just actually got one for his teammate now, so Keo just needs to retreat, group up together, maybe try and grab that. Fortunately, he is on the wrong side of the map, so not ideal. That said, 4 rounds on the board for Sprout. They are looking good on their T side so far.
Looking to try and hunt down some of those remaining guns. Not really wanting to allow the CTs to get away with that much in what was mainly just a pistol round. Of course, this is going to be the first proper 4-by. Macken can get his AWP with Kevlar and have full grenades. So this is where Heretics basically have to start rising to the occasion. Of course, it's always horrible when a player's missing, but the fact is they are 2-0 in Swiss. So even if they do lose this match, they're going to have a couple of opportunities. Hopefully, Lucky can sort out his connection or maybe even just get another line. And of course, it's a bit of a weird scenario at the moment with everything going on. Fast playing, though. I like this. A change of pace from the Ts. They're going to get a man down the vent. That will allow them very good positioning if they were going to wrap back around towards the B site. Dennis, of course, doesn't have the bomb, so can't really do anything there. It'd be a bit of a risk if he did. But he can look to wrap around onto the ramp or even just try and pull away some of the rotations. You can see Deer in the meantime is going to try and take control of outside. Lots of opportunities for the wraparound, and that's the most important kill. That's the opener onto the ramp. That means the T side now have a clear path to the B site with Deer already holding around the outside. Dennis has done his job perfectly, but with that one man being dropped, there might be an opportunity. Dennis, low on HP already, and a nice shot from Maka, so clinical with that AWP. It gives them a good chance now to take this back.
Favano could be a game changer here because all these players quickly rushing vent. If he can get in behind them at the right moment, he could single-handedly cut this retake down before it even gets going. Oscar doing his bit fighting Biggie. Favan is the man of the hour. He needs to get those legs moving. If he can get into that player, at least get this singular frag here, that already takes the pressure off his team, let alone the other 2 players still standing. I think he might have already done what he needs to do, to be honest. He's forced him immediately into a save.
At the time, too far gone. And ultimately, it does look like Dennis's singular frag to give them that way onto the ramp actually did enough. Even going to be killing off one of the remaining players in the form of Maka. And they know where XMS is. I doubt they'll be able to kill him off before anything else happens, but I don't think Sprout will mind. 5-0. A strong start to the T side. Biggie at least able to get onto the board, which, hey, it's always nice to get the call up. Unfortunately, the circumstances don't quite come in the manner they would have liked. They are actually going to force the issue here. Double AWP setup invested. This was very impactful when it came to the previous map, but not something that's so common when it comes to Nuke. Like, there are definitely angles that can be taken, but you have to remember there are opportunities for the T side to either completely negate them with the smokes that they've thrown here, or even just blasting onto the A site. So that risk may have just bitten them in the butt. As this one player down on the B site, Biggie, well, that is not the way you want to kick off this round, as now the B site is going to fall into the control of the T side if they desire it. They're taking their time. Dennis has also picked off the AWP. And well, I think you've just witnessed the reason why we don't really see 2 AWPs brought in on the CT side. It leaves you almost immovable in a lot of positions. And with Nuke being a map that's quite dynamic in rotations and you have to be quick to react, it's not really a gun that you can have too many of.
Yeah, you don't double up nuke CT side really at all. The only if you want to go for maybe outside and ramp, and that's a very niche circumstance, but I think it's a given just to say that a double, especially in this composition, probably off the table. I think for Heretics right now, the game plan should be, let's get aggressive, let's do something different, let's see what we can find, because right now, the answer is absolutely nothing. Keo gets a quick exit kill, maybe finds a second for his troubles as Dennis hits the deck, but the storyline still is that Sprout is 6-0 here, and while this is Chapter 1, Chapter 2, I don't think it gets any better, Tom.
Well, I think that we do have to take everything that we're witnessing with a pinch of salt. I do wonder if that might have just been an attempt to be a little bit more aggressive with some of the plays, like that go for the picks, because you don't really have the overall firepower to challenge anymore. You'd have a big player missing from your squad, so okay, let's just throw in 2 AWPs just as a attempted counter. Unfortunately, the decisions that are currently being made by Sprout are completely counteracting that. They're going for fast play. Dennis is just ripping off faces. Dia has come alongside him as well. Maka's way too late to the party. He's now actually surrounded. I think there's a player behind him as well, so he just had to try and go for the kill. And this has just turned into the Sprout show. Navira, 1v4. Dennis is having an absolute field day. He is eventually going to be put down, but even then there was a trade available. 7-0. Sprout absolutely dominating this T side, and I can't really say I'm overly surprised considering the circumstances.
Yeah, it's definitely far from ideal, and it's when you look at the way they're playing as well, unfortunately. I have to agree, obviously, Heretics, you have to kind of discount a lot of it, but also look at the way Sprout are playing. Literally, the A push there from outside through to inner A, there wasn't much to it. It was just pure confidence. Walk in, shoot heads, get 3 kills, standing proud and hard. I mean, that's the sort of play we're seeing right now. It's just exuding a quick Sprout victory. I'm not surprised to see 7-0. I'm expecting this to get much worse now because there's nothing Heretics seem to be able to do to slow this down. These rounds have been very, very quick. And already the B site, given, the only piece that saves Sprout is that, or saves Heretics, sorry, is that ramp control still has yet to be given up. But if Secret is taken, that provides a pathway onto that site, which I don't know if Heretics will be able to retake.
Well, from what we've seen so far, the answer to that question has been no. And obviously the synergy of this team is going to be thrown off right now. The other thing as well is I do feel like for some of the rounds, we've actually just seen Dennis directly try and exploit Biggie, knowing his position, like watching him play around Mini for some of the rounds. He's just aggressively pushed it to try and kill it quickly as possible. And it's smart play. You know, focus on the weak link, find it, and then make things very, very awkward for the remaining players. I think this also has got to be quite demoralizing, so maybe just looking into the next game.
Well, Nuke CT side is a trial by fire, let's be honest as well. So what a way to change things up. You're feeling good, you've had 2 close maps, everything's looking like it's going to be a climax at the end of what's been a great best of 3. They're looking forward to a great game of Counter-Strike, right? And then this happens. Then you get CT side. I mean, they could not have been dealt a worse hand to it, because Nuke is not an easy map to play CT side, is it? We talked about at the start, no, there's a lot of depth to this.
Yeah, it's one where, like, obviously we still slightly favor it, but definitely not as much as we did in the past. Like, I think teams over the lifespan of this map have been able to adapt and basically grow into the T side, where I would put it still as like 9-6 CT sided. But the issue with that is there's still gambles that need to be taken, rotations that need to be called for, positions that might not necessarily be covered all of the time. And when you slot a player into that, it doesn't work. Like, it's not something that you can really play on the fly. It's very difficult to do. And we're going to have to wait and see whether or not they are just going to be straight 16-0'd, 8-0. We finally have a buy back in. Biggie looking like he might just be saving extra money here just to make sure he can drop weapons over to his players. It's understandable. We don't know how much he's been playing, but even if he has been playing like regular Counter-Strike, which not all of the coaches do, it probably hasn't been to necessarily a high level. Like, he's not going to be competing in competitions. He's not going to be playing against anyone anywhere near the level of Sprout. Decent start, though. D is going to be tagged down to 58 HP. Still an awful lot of work to do. The T's are being very patient. I think they're expecting some information gathering to eventually come up for the Heretics. Biggie peeking over the door. It's a tough spot to hold, especially because it's one of those positions where you're very likely to come up against a 1v1 duel, which, I'll be honest, that's probably the last thing you want to be happening. He's going to try and maneuver his way onto the hut, and even then he's going to get forced out of position, blinded. Just being bombarded with different grenades. As, again, that vent dive is going to come in. They're just going full matchmaking at this point. Looking to just try and get their move onto the B side. You can see Dennis waiting patiently to hold for anybody trying to rotate. Just watching to see if anybody is going to be coming in that direction. In the meantime, his teammates have already planted the bomb, but Dennis is actually going to get closed out. Another kill even coming up for the CT side. The only issue is the T's, again, have all of that control. They have all of the map under their favor, and Dia is just going to ruin that rotation back. It's only coming in from ramp at this point, and the CT side, once again, looking like they might just have to hold on to their weapons. Perfectly played from Sprout. Sure, it got a little bit dicey with the kills that came up, but ultimately they had the bomb down, ticked for about 10 seconds already, and perfect after plant position.
This is looking really quite bleak at this point. Even just the slight hint of success is shut down by Sprout with just one or two big plays. The double kill vent. What a way to deny any sense of a retake. (9-0), Tom. What a scoreline. T-side nuke. Sprout just obliterating their competition right now as they look to get this series done. And the way they've done it has been very just use and abuse of kind of Heretics' key positions. Vent diving, taking advantage of Biggie quite a lot, looking to force the frag on towards Nevera or Maka. They've targeted specific players and just rinse repeated, and it's worked perfectly. At least there's a start though. Keo does get first blood, finding Dennis early on here. Maybe presents an opportunity. Maka then gets a pick on D here as well. Perhaps, Tom, this might be a round.
Hey, you gotta hope. You gotta hope that there's something that's coming up for Heretics and soon. T's don't actually have control of the bomb. It's left in towards the spawn. They're gonna be pushing. Keo does a lot of damage, but it is still gonna be the trade back. Biggie down the vents. Maybe expecting this to be an outside push, and a missed shot from Oscar will mean that there's now a two-man advantage once again. Spiddy just holding for any sort of rotation. He's not going to be able to connect, and now Farven, well, 1v4. It's going to get finished off by Biggie. It is 1-9. Heretics, they're not going to be going down flawlessly at least, but there is an abundance of cash. Of course there is. It's 9-0, and it's been dominant from Sprout. So they're going to be buying comfortably into this next round. Looking, searching for double digits, but at least the CT side do have their buy in play. Now, I know at least for a fact that they spotted one of the orbs. Chances are they know there's a double orb set up again. So I do wonder if we will just see another attempt to try and aggressively take outside, just because it's so effective. If you can get down into the B site, a double orb setup is going to be completely useless. Like, it's so hard to retake, and they're just doing it again. They're running straight down already. It's going to be that opening pick coming up for Oscar. And they've already got all the way down onto the B side. The bomb has gone with them. Oscar with a second, just holding off players as he finds kills on the rotation. XMS, he's even going to go hunting for a little bit more. And one by one, watch the Heretics players fall. It's left on to Keo. Vera And Kia will at least be able to pick off one. A few tagged players, but ultimately it's looking like just another round of keeping hold of weapons.
That's the thing. I think you already call a save at 3v5 then. The minute you realise B has been taken, there's just nothing you can do. So losing an extra player, not ideal. Now they just have to pray that they can keep the AWP and the AK, because their money is not in the greatest of spots either. Thankfully, they've got a core of 3, which will be able to help them out without the save. This save just kind of guarantees that this next buy is going to be perfect for the CTs. After that, it becomes quite troublesome, but I think that's small talk when it comes to looking at the bigger picture here, which is that Sprout are on double digits.
Yeah, double digits on the T side. This is done. Like, no matter if Lucky comes back, whatever, there's no way. Like, they would have to pull off an absolute miracle, and I think Sprout would have to, well, basically shit the bed for this to go wrong. I can't see any way that they let this one slip. Like, they would have to completely screw this up for even, like, no matter what happens. I think they could sub in like Zywa at this point, and it would still have to be such an impressive performance. Maybe that will work. Maybe if they can get Zywa as a sub, then they'll have an opportunity to bring this back. But yeah, it's a really bleak scoreline. Nice work from Biggie, at least. He won't be able to get that opening pick, but the bombardment continues. Oscar with that AWP. It's really difficult to T-side AWP. But yeah, I think they're just having fun with it at this point.
Literally, he's just pushed in A as the entry fragger and got the kill with the AWP. I mean,
why not?
This is nuts.
At this point, why not?
Imagine being Heretics as well, right? You're put in a 4-on-4 retake. You go to play Heaven, and then they throw 4 Molotovs at you. Like, what can you do?
Well, that's the thing. They're playing so fast that they basically have all of their utility for after plant situations. So they're down to 15 seconds. They do have to save. Like, it's horrible. It's not fun Counter-Strike to watch. It's not particularly enjoyable, but that's just what we've got. Nice shot from Navira. This clutching at straws to say anything, but they're just blasting their way into the A site, getting the bomb down, playing after plant positions with a full set of utility. Like, I can't even really put this down to necessarily having a stand-in at this point. I think Heretics have almost just given up.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's really much on show from them, unfortunately. And well, I think it talks to kind of the morale part of it. I don't want to sort of beat down on that topic too much, because it happens sometimes. This is kind of the challenge of online Counter-Strike. I think as we get more and more into this world of online CS being the only CS that we have, given unfortunate global situations currently, teams are going to have to get prepared for this kind of issue. They're going to have either coaches who are ready to go and not well integrated, but are prepared, or actual substitute players. That will just get more internet lines.
I don't think the Heretics are going to care too much about this result. It's not a big deal for them. It was a chance maybe to have a little bit of fun playing with their coach. Like, they've still got 2 opportunities to get through. Sprout are one of the best teams in the tournament. They've given them a run for their money on the maps that mattered, where they had their squad. I think they should be able to beat pretty much anyone else who they come up against. So, yeah, sure, it's not nice. It's not a great situation, but I don't think this is going to be something that they particularly mind. I think, like, they'll probably just be winding up Lucky about it after the match. Just like, your internet's rubbish. Come on, man. We could have won that, but
it does give us an interesting topic for other teams, though. That was more my point, looking at other teams in online CS just across the whole Counter-Strike spectrum right now, whether we are going to see things like internet disconnects or whatever it may be cause problems, because there are lots of uncontrollable factors now that we're out of what I would call the gamer house era, right? You go back 3-4 years, a lot of teams were living in houses together. Nowadays, that's less common. We're looking at, on the top end, obviously, you've got teams who are living in luxury apartments or what it may be, but sort of in this tier 2, tier 3 end, it usually is now just players playing from home. There's a lot of uncontrollable factors when you play from home.
Even at the top tier nowadays, I don't think there's that many teams that like actually live in a house. Most of the time, they would travel to a boot camp. So yeah, most teams at the moment, whether they're the top level or not, are playing from home. But at the same time, I think the whole, like, at least when it comes to, for example, Road to Rio, I think you're allowed 6 players, but one of them, that includes the coach. So that's why people were very much interested in the idea of what will happen with S-Tag in the future. But either way, it's back to this strategy once again. They've gone down the vent. They've dived in. It is going to be Dennis going down, and actually Oscar has fallen as well. Heretics have started to bring some rounds back. They've got a second onto the board in the last, but it's still going to have to be this 4v3 after plant situation. And that's the thing. There's been 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these rounds exactly the same. And every single time it's gone the way of Sprout. They've been so good in these after plants. And yeah, a lot of that comes down to it being fairly difficult for Heretics right now. But we'll see whether or not they can make this one work. Ultimately, it would still be a 3v3, even if you didn't include Biggie. Nice work from XMS. He's going to get 1, but the trades come back so fast. Dia is clinical. And the same can be said for Spiddy as they get their 12-2 scoreline and leave just 1 round left for the CT side to try and claim something.
Can you imagine a 13-2? I mean, it's been a while since I've seen 13-2 in a game like this, especially T-side nuke.
Yeah, it's not common, that's for sure, but neither are the circumstances. It's going to be early utility expended. I believe Kia may have even just attempted to jump into the vents himself. Biggie, his aggression, maybe a bit of a loose cannon as he does find Oscar, a man who's been entry fragging a lot with that AWP. But it's still just going to be a trade. But that 1-for-1 trade is fine. You've lost your coach and you've taken down Oscar. I'd pretty much take that every day of the week. And Dennis is going to fall as well. Still, though, the T's look to just try and bombard this A site. Faven already picking off Kiyoshima is going to leave it mainly onto XMS on the site. Smoke going to be going out. Are they actually doing this again? They are. Just running down the bench.
Repeat the same play, isn't it?
I said at the beginning of the match, this is something I enjoy watching. I didn't expect to see it this many times. Good shot by Navera, though. A second as well. The AWP at least stepping up to the plate, and it's all on to Dia. 1 versus 3. To try and have a cheeky dunk with the nade. Bomb is going to be planted, but they can get there very quickly. Indeed, he has to get off it. Left in an open position. 1 shot down. Knows that there's a second player close, but it's not going to be enough. A 12-3 half, your dream of a 13-2. Did not happen, Ryan. But even still, utterly dominant from Sprout. A very good performance from them. It still takes a lot to just basically not get overconfident in these scenarios and actually shut out your opposition. We've seen every player performing. And of course, just 4 rounds away from making it to the playoffs.
And Big Man Biggie is currently second to top fragging. So there is that too. Taking that as a moral victory for him, I think. Of course, the scoreline slightly more negative, but well, you've got to take the wins you can find, right? Interesting time to call a pause. Will this be the return of the prodigal son, Lucky?
It would be nice.
It would be what a time to come back. What a time.
It would be very nice, but yeah, I think it'd sort of be like that meme of like the guy walking into the house and everything's on fire. That is exactly that's what I imagine. That is happening right now, because yeah, it's not going great, is it?
Well, there's the unpause called. It looks like he will not be returning Biggie, the player, to continue the second half here. As the Heretic side cling on for dear life.
It's the Donald Glover meme where he walks in with like the box. It would be one hell of a time for him to come back, but no. It's going to be Biggie setting up the utility. The rest of the team looking to head their way down ramp. It's almost like Biggie's the big fake here, but he does have Maka alongside him to do the majority of the heavy lifting, and the T's have started this off well. A couple of kills coming up. There will be a trade back onto Maka. T is watching to see if they are going to rotate back around, but there is still a path onto this B site. I think footsteps will be heard, but it's a missed shot from Faven. Will he expect the second? Nice shots from Biggie. Bringing this one home. Looking to really do the damage. He's found 3 kills in the pistol round. Moving himself right up the top of the board. Nate is going to go in Dia 1v3. I can't really see him winning this one, but a nice shot will at least get him his second kill. He's not going to do anything more, though. Heretics take the pistol round. It's Biggie with no small position in this. And now, 12-3. 4 even.
Curious to see how long they can keep this going for. Of course, Sprout immediately purchasing into this. Scout, SMGs, three Deagles. Looks like we are going to see a rinse repeat of what Heretics had done to them for so many rounds. It's just straight into vent, straight down to B. Oscar did get a nice pick towards outside, but nothing to really be screaming about. Dennis finds another, but again, it's just Heretics trading away. Should be pretty comfortable at this point. Down on B, but where is the bomb?
Did Maka just get wrecked through the smoke? I think they just got the bomb off that as well. That is so unlucky. Like, Dennis throws a smoke down, and I'm pretty sure either he wrapped through into lobby and I just missed it, or he just spammed a shot through the smoke and wrecked him. Either way, that is as brutal as it gets, because that's one of those like where everybody vent dives and the one guy with the bomb doesn't make it down, and you're just sat there looking a little bit silly. Do they expect Dennis? It's the half check from Keo. It happens to the best of us, but it's something you just can't afford to do. Now they know there's at least one man behind them, and well, they know there's one man behind them. They've killed off Navera as well. This round is going very well indeed. 40-second marker on the clock. XMS with a bajillion angles to try and clear. On the CT side, oh, there's two of them just waiting around the corner. This is going to be a really tough spot for him. He's been in so many clutches. He's come close in so many clutches, but walks into the corner, and there's two CTs waiting. A 13th for Sprout. A great round from them off the back of the pistols, and potentially the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so good for Sprout now, isn't it? They have all the weaponry, everything they need, just to run to 14. Meanwhile, Heretics, they've even forced us up as well. I think they have to at this point, but unfortunately for them, the byproduct of that will be that if Sprout win this round, 14, beat them on the full eco, 15, it's not that good of a situation, that's for sure. Yeah, running through the smoke as well is a quick and easy way to lose your life.
Oh, a few attempted shots. Dennis has been tagged. Of course, they've managed to retrieve the majority of the rifles from the last round, so they're in a very good position in this round. Oscar all the way down the ramp, so it has given some control at least, but utility's fairly minimal for the T side to make this cross. And Spiddy is going to be watching. Still holding within this A site. And a little bit wary of a player wrapping round the ramp. So Spiddy's got so many angles to actually check here. 45 seconds. That's the spot he needed. Worried about being flanked from behind, but instead just allowed to take that duel. And now things become quite difficult. Flashbang thrown out to try and leave somebody blind, but it's Dia from above. He does get tagged, but they're cleaning this up very nicely indeed. Bomb drop into the flames. And Navera left with 5 players to fight against. Doesn't look good for Heretics here, as a 14th is inevitable. And while not really much point saving the Deagle, he'll get more money into the next round anyway.
When will the pain end for Heretics? That seems to be the only thing left.
Soon.
They're left to wonder now, because yeah, they really can't do anything in this game, can they? It's just, this is the worst possible situation for them to be in. Do you just force us up? I feel like there might be a world where you just go screw it, but no, they play normal Counter-Strike, kind of in commas. They decide to sit the full eco and go for the full buy in what will be round 20, 15-4. That's a wild scoreline for them to be at, that's for sure. And honestly, I don't really see it being a comeback here from the Heretics side, but I respect them for giving it a go.
Or maybe they just want to give Biggie a chance to have himself a proper buy round on the T side. It would be nice to see. They're going to all peek versus Oscar. Now he's got a lot of information here and a chance to really build up some cash if he is going to be going for that AWP. As said, in previous rosters, it wasn't something he did too much, but of course he's very much capable. And while Navira just trying to dance out of the way of the majority of these bullets, but won't be able to. The scoreline close to being finished. As said, I really don't think that Heretics are going to be too fussed about this one. They know that they're not playing with their full roster. Nuke is probably one of the worst maps to have your coach stand in. But this is crunch time. They're going to get themselves the purchase. Mac is still going for that SG. We've seen most players move away from it, but still a few. It's going to be... He's looking to try and take control. I suppose if he's just tapping with it, then it's really not too bad. Just looking to try and find Oscar on the outside, but he's not there. He's actually kept the ump. Disappointed that we probably won't get an Oscar XM, which is still my favorite to watch. He's trying to take an outside duel with it. That is definitely ambitious. The T's are going to be slowly and methodically taking things out. I like that they're sending Biggie in first, though. Almost just use him to try and get yourself a trade kill, and then that'll set the T's up quite nicely. Spitty is outside, and they do have to be careful of his position. Now, he has been spotted. He's taken a bit of damage. But it's actually going to be Dennis to kick things off.
So Oscar's just chilling with Molly in hand. Not really flinching at all here at Tavern. Looks for the duel outside, won't actually find it. Doesn't expect Navera to be there as well, so it comes down to a 2-on-2. Heads up play is Navera has the bomb on its back, can get into ramp, and I imagine, yeah, Maka just joins in secret, head to the B site. Little did I know that that's where D-Hurt is ready and waiting, springs into action with the SMG, leaving just one man. Navera, he has to do it all now. 1 versus 2. If he wants even a remote chance of bringing this game back. I think it's fair to say that the hope isn't all quite there, but he'll give it a good go, that's for sure. The problem is, the minute that bomb goes down, door opened. Yeah, we should be seeing a kill, but no, D here just plays it even safer, actually, going, you know, I'll wait for my teammate, I'm going to do this together with Oscar. Just taking absolutely no risk. They're straight on the bomb already. They just, yeah, this is going to be... No messing around here at all, Tom. They're just getting it done. 16-4. What a result. I mean, unfortunate circumstances for Heretics, that's for sure, but Sprout, I think they battled tooth and nail through map 1 and map 2. I think they deserved a victory here. They did fight hard in those first 2 maps. Unfortunately, the third, not quite the same, but it is what it is. Sprout, they will guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. Heretics will have to fight just that little bit harder to make themselves get there as well. That's all for today, folks. That is our final best of 3. We're joining you at the same time, the same place, for more Counter-Strike tomorrow for Lootbet Season 6.
Going through the smoke walk. She's gonna go down. Walks in with the AWP.
Position, Earthshaker's moving in as well. Echo Slam connects on it too. Back row tire down as well.
Red always wins the brawl. Or can we cast a cursor? There we go.
Lootbet.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to Lootbet to cash out now.
Hello folks, welcome back to map number 2 in this best of 3 series. It's Hard Legion versus Japolino. Define, map 2 was an interesting one for us because we both went into this thinking if Hard Legion took map 1, this was going to be a 2-0. If they didn't, it's a 3-mapper for sure. Well, we were talking about this on the break, and I think we might be a little bit more open to the idea now for Japolino 2-0 based on not only performance in the last map, but also we just did a little bit more digging around their results on Mirage, and although on paper they look pretty bleak, correct me if I'm wrong, but the results and the level of teams they were playing against wasn't actually hard bad.
No, they were playing against pretty good teams, I'm not gonna lie. The wins they got was against Northern one time. Other than that, they lost against teams like Sprout and Ago. 2 times against Sprout, 1 time against Ago. So, and that was also very close, 16-13. So, yeah, it's not too far-fetched that if Japolino can get a good start, they can definitely get this 2-0 here. And we can see sometimes, you know, they're hitting all the shots Japolino and winning 2-0. Sometimes they may lose 2-0. They're a little bit a hit-or-miss team. So we don't really know where we have them in terms of that. So could still, of course, be a Hard Legion running away with this map and getting us to 3rd, but not gonna count out Japolino from this series.
Definitely not a team to sleep on. One of the other things we talked about, which I'm kind of curious on just discussing a little further while we have the time, is obviously them being kind of the Swedish, I don't want to call them a mix because they're obviously not necessarily just a hard mix team, but obviously these guys have been playing, as we talked about in map 1, throughout the Swedish scene, kind of this level for a long time. Yeah. They are very hit and miss, so it's hard to gauge a team like Japolino going into a map like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard to know what they're gonna be up to. But I'm really wondering what the next step is for these guys. Are they gonna keep grinding out like this kind of lower tier? Because they're not taking the next step, Flakes. And for how long can you really keep doing this? Like, they've been doing this for a couple of years now. Ever since I was started casting back in 2014, 2015. You know, I've seen these guys back then as well. So, you know, when is enough enough? You know, I don't want to bash on the guys because, you know, they get money playing this. You know, there's a lot bigger prize pool nowadays as well than back in the days. But in the long run, is it really worth it?
Tough question.
Yeah, of course, they're hoping for their break, you know, but if that break doesn't come, you know,
it's been a few years.
You know, yeah, so you see the stats here. It doesn't say everything here on the 4 times that we have on the losses they lost against pretty good teams. Pistol wins, still in the favor of oh, that's a wrong logo, yeah. It confused me a little bit here. It was a Windstrike logo. We want to see the chili and the spice.
It is a great logo, let's be honest.
Yeah. So they're not really like, I don't know if you can really call, I guess you can call them a team. They said I think they said on Twitter they were. And they're a researching organization, so maybe somebody's watching, who knows? And yeah, oh, these guys are maybe pretty good. They won the first map against Hard Legion, but let's see if they can win an entire best of 3 and not just a map here. Then we can give them some money for a salary. But we're gonna start off with a little fast round here for Hard Legion, of course. They are gonna head towards the B apartments here, and I said this is a really good map for Hard Legion. So let's see if Japolino can turn it back here. The pistol run is underway, and that's on with a P2K. Don't really see it being used too much nowadays. Usually USP that people prefer. But the plant down for Hard Legion here, and it's gonna have to be a 5v5 retake. DGL is there with the kit, but here we go. They're gonna go around the corner. Crad finds the first one. There's a little bit of team damage as well coming in. And where's the remaining ones? There's nobody else moving in from Japolino. They're all stationed at their positions, and this is a disaster for pistol round or retake. Hard Legion, they're just crushing them. All 5 kills going their way.
Not the greatest of starts. Japolino kind of just got frozen time and didn't really make any of the moves that we were hoping to see. It's very disappointing, to be honest. Hopefully, not an indication of what's to come.
Hopefully not. That would be terrible. There's like, after the first game died, they got like a brain freeze. Stayed put. Nothing is going on, and Hard Legion has a pretty easy time on the server. But now we're gonna see a force buy from Yapaleno. They're gonna try to see if they can win this one. It's not the easiest one to win. It's a hit or miss round as well, this kind of force buys in the second round. But we're gonna see another B push. This time they have 2 players here, and with a force buy, could actually work out for the chance of Yapaleno. They do get 2 frags here. Relaxa though, if he can pick up one more here, this is gonna be absolutely huge. But they go out, Relaxa, he's gonna peek out, he gets the kill. It's a 2v1 and it happened, Flakes. It's a hit or miss round, but they gamble in the right side here, Yapaleno, and just like that, after the terrible pistol round they had, they're pulling it right back.
That is hugely significant. The Deagle's close range just chewing them up there. Such a critical round too, because it allows them to fully spend going into this one and hopefully go 2 for 1 here. But of course, Hard Legion, they don't like to bow out of a fight. They won't walk away. No white flag being waved here. Rather, they're going to force back up into this one and continue the fight. Oh, the difference is this time it's not going to be that full commit B play.
Yeah, and the Crad, he does have the SG though, so the question is, if they can send in Crad and do something with it, they actually have a chance to win this round. I don't think Yapaleno is going to expect that SG, because they only got 1 SG and 1 M4 here. Other than that, they got the Scout and the MP9s. So I'm not sure they're expecting that kind of a gun. He's just going for the spot here. Once he sees him, he's going to put that smoke down. But this will be a B taken fact, actually, because the bomb and 2 more is here, and there's only 1 player on B. This could be terrible for Yapaleno. And now here comes Dessen, is also down to 40 HP. He goes down, Dessen. Oh no, this is... I'm not sure why they can't make it this kind of setup on a force buy. You know, this is a big gamble you're making against a force buy like this. Bomb will be getting planted here. It's a 5v4. Forrester, is he gonna get the flank here? No, he's not. He gets taken out, but this smokes is gonna buy a lot more time for Hard Legion. Oh, he's missing the jump as well. And oh, this Kink in top mid getting a tag on Pleasant. This is looking pretty bad actually from Yapaleno. With 24 seconds left. They still have enough time, but they gotta get the move on. And there we go, they do get another one here. But Crad is still alive with that SG. And there's a guy on the side too. And Crad, he goes down, the side player, 10 seconds left on the bomb. There's the kill. And there's the defuse. He doesn't have a kit. The guy with the kit needs to make the defuse. And it's gonna be so close actually in the corner. But oh, they just gotta get the defuse there, Flakes. And that was too close for comfort.
Right down to the wire, but they do make it stick in the end. That's going to be 3 to 1 now, almost guaranteed as well, because Hard Legion won't be able to spend a penny going into this round. This will have to be the full Glock, maybe P250 at best for Lico. Yapaleno, for a 2-0 sprint they're trying to achieve. It's a good start so far. I mean, they did lose the first pistol in quite a disastrous fashion, but the recovery has looked pretty good. The next thing we want to see is how the full buy pans out. This round here, not super relevant. As long as they keep it clean, they don't think too wild, but this should be very comfortable for the CT side to close. What matters is round 5, because Hard Legion will be back on the full buy, and we'll get to see a real idea of what they're going to be able to do on their T side, and maybe where they'll be able to test the likes of Yapaleno.
Yeah, certainly. So they just need to stay alive with a lot of players in this round to build up some little bit of economy here. But yeah, let's see how this one is gonna pan out. Hard Legion, they do have the Deagles, so you gotta be watching out for those. But here we go, top of the bench, and the DGL is gonna say, sit down on that bench. This is not your run, Hard Legion. This is our map to take. We're gonna steal this map away, even though this is your choice. Rage is going for the crouch peek. Gets the kill. Trade is there, and this is Forrester goes down. So 3 to 1, but this is where it starts. The first gun round coming out here from Hard Legion with the full rifles and everything. Up against Yapaleno here. So we're even gonna see an AWP being bought here from Relaxa. So interesting round coming up here. 3-1 on map 2. And if Yapaleno can get this one, they can get a head start with a 5-1. That's exactly what they they need to try to look to do. This is gonna be a smoke towards the B apartments, deep. And Hard Legion. How much have they practiced Mirage here? How good are they on this map is the question. And did they bait Japaleno into playing this map? Because maybe they were just looking at the win percent rate and were like, okay, this is a good map for us, it's a bad map for them, let's go for it. Or did they actually look into which kind of teams Japaleno played against? Not really sure, but that nade is gonna be good on Kinky and SWAT. Down to 60 HP and 70. But a slow pace run here from Hard Legion, in fact.
Slowly but surely, working some further control down mid. May even get themselves into window here as well. Already having Rage in ladder room. Very passive play from the CT side though. A lot of damage already done, but not really doing much more. He's actually falling back. I like this though. Doesn't need to overcommit here. Good molly should give away an idea of what's coming. Good nade as well. Already a 2-for-1 trade, looking very, very good.
But that looking good is down to Wars. I'm not sure why the rotation doesn't come in from the T's, and why doesn't expect Krat to be already inside there because he got a kill from. There's no rotation. Destin is the only one on the B apps, and Japaleno, they're not even making a rotation. He did see them towards B apps, right? He heard them. The Molotov took damage. He knew there was at least 2 players there, and they got 2 kills on short. So they know this is going to be a B wrap. So why don't Japaleno put more players towards the B side after that? But now they're just going to go for the save and Hard Legion. They do pick up the round because Japaleno, they don't react on the short play. They did kill the short, but then there's 2 players in the B apartments. Did they think they were going to go back or something? They're not fully commit. So nails one at least. Get to save that. So there will be money on the Japaleno side, but they do lose the round here, and I think this is all about how many rounds the T's can get. Because T side is where you can have trouble winning rounds here unless you're, you know, Sprout or something like that. But we do have a pulse coming in at 3-2. I think it's a pretty good time to take a pulse as well.
What are you changing right now though? If you're calling a pause, what is the if you're team captain, what's the discussion you're having?
For Japaleno?
Yeah.
So it seems like they've been abusing a lot of the B side here, Hard Legion, but Destin is the one who's playing towards B house. He has to make the calls that that he saw 2 players probably could go towards B still. When they made that B split, you know, like the short guy's dead, they should have a guy on site and a guy on balcony there to just kill the guys coming out from B apps. But instead, there's only Destin there. He dies. The rotation is 5 years away. And I don't know how he came into window there. Or into kitchen. Was he one of the short as well? Was he the 3rd guy coming short? Because he did not come from B apps, and I don't think he came from the jungle as well, because that was CTs there, so. But you don't want to have too many players, right, on the B side to have the A defense bad. But sometimes I think they may just have to play for an A retake in a few rounds. If you don't really have an idea of where Hard Legion is going to go towards, then you may just put one towards theirs and one towards CT ticket, and just go for the retake. But yeah, Mirage CT side is not the easiest thing to play actually. Especially if you lose players. Now, this is what we see. This is the retake I mean here. Like, they have nobody on the site or anything here for Japaleno. I like the play actually. They have a guy ticket, 2 players a ticket in fact. Now they just need to go for the retake. If Freddy or someone can find 1 kill before they plant to make it a 5v4 retake, that would be even better. But that's not gonna happen now. Let's see if Japaleno are a good retake team. They have 2 ops though, Flake, so that's pretty terrible you want to retake with.
Awesome. Dives on in. Connector could prove to be a problem here. Loving the smoke, but has that gone too deep?
think it's just enough. Yeah, it's just enough here. And the spam.
So close to finding Freddy though.
It will be Japalena with a good retake, and that's what I mean. Like the retake could get out just like that. Plus, he did an amazing 2 frags there. Kinky, just one more shot, and I think the time would have been very low as well on the bomb. But they will be able to figure out, and the buy here from Hardy will be there, right? They have 3 buy, and actually, never mind. They're gonna go for partial buy instead. They did get a plant down, but they're saying, let's just take it. Let's go for full buy in the 8th round instead. This one is gonna be a couple of Kevlars and a few upgraded pistols. So this should be 5-1 for Japaleno. And they should keep a little bit of a distance here to Hard Legion going into the gun round. So we said that we're probably gonna struggle, but then we revisited which team Japaleno actually played against, and it's not actually too bad of a team, and they were very close as well on all those matches, 16-13. So just a run here and there going the other way. Turn this map into Japaleno, and has a really good position to have with an SG. You have a scope weapon. The first angle they're gonna check is not gonna be that. But yeah, Flex, actually things are not going bad here for the Swedes.
It's actually looking pretty good. There were a couple of moments that have been a bit nail-biting, I think it's fair to say. But generally, it looks very solid right now on the CT side.
And they're building up a lot of money because they're surviving 5 people like in that round. So they're just gonna have to rebuy the nades. That's gonna be not a lot of money being spent into this round. But let's say Hard Legion, they need to come up with some few rounds here. They're 5-2 down. 2 rounds is not gonna cut it. They need to get at least 3 more to make an alright first half here. And Japaleno being a map up here, they're feeling the pressure, I'm sure, here, Hard Legion, that they need to win their map pick. Otherwise, this is gonna be a quick 2-0 here for Japaleno to finish off the day. And this time they're taking 3 guys towards the top mid. The bomb as well. 2 players towards the A ramp. And here we go. Oh, they're gonna push through the smoke here. That's gonna be the first one. Destin picks up the bomb carrier as well. Can they follow up on the second one here though? Yes, they will. Pleasant takes him out here. And Pleasant with a second one. That's a triple. No, not a triple. It looked like it was.
Close enough though. Triple double. Yeah. The impact's the same at this point. Is he not only got the kills, but he dropped the bomb carrier as well in such an awkward position. So
given this was a gun round, like look at the kills here from Hard Legion. They got 1 kill on Spot, Forest, and Kinky. They all got 1 kill only.
They are really struggling to get going here. I didn't even realize 1 kill was actually the problem, but you are right. 3 players plateaued on just that 1 frag.
Yeah, and if you want to grind T rounds, that's not the right way to do it. Rage gonna try to get something here. Plus, they may just get the 3rd kill here. But there we go. He's gonna get tagged. There we go. DGL is gonna find him. Yeah, things are going terrible there from Hard Legion. Not a single frag again. That's 5 people alive. You can see there, Pleasant just wrecking everyone. And Hard Legion, they're gonna have to go down to another eco round here. They have 1 buy, they lose that, they're gonna have to eco. They buy next, they lose that, they have to eco. It's an eco buy every single time here now for Hard Legion. So this is where you don't want to be on the T side, where you only got 1 buy round before you have to eco again. But this looks like it could be a B push here with a pistol Kevlar buy. They have a lot of utility as well. So I'm not going to count them out here, Hardy. They're putting a smoke down, but look at this spam here coming up from Destin. 1, DGL is going to help him out. So they will shut it down. They're going very aggressive here. Destin, you need to fall back, my friend. You have 5 HP. You have no business being here. You're just losing a gun for nothing.
I think he'll be okay. He's being covered off by DGL, so
yeah,
he'll live to fight another day.
That's 3 rounds in a row now. 5 alive. 3 rounds.
Not only that, look at the scoreboard. We really are starting to see a sizable gap build between these 2 teams. If this gun round doesn't work out for Hard Legion, we could be getting into double digits before we see something impactful from them. Which is the polar opposite of what we expected.
Yeah, we were expecting Hard Legion to have a pretty good Mirage game, but so far, it's a disaster. They're shooting water bullets right now away from their AKs and SGs. They're not finding a single frag. Up around the corner, finally getting a pair of frags here. DGL finds one. Freddy Frog though, the trade has 2 for 1 here for the T's, so maybe they will get their third here. Japolina, they know that they just need 3 more rounds on the CT side here to have a good haul. If they can nail a 10th round, that would be alright for them. They just need to try to avoid Harleydon getting more than 5. But this is a good start for Harleydon. 4 versus 3 now. This should be a run going their way. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't. But this SGs, you know, you never know what's gonna happen. Both teams have SGs right now in the 3 to the 4 here from our Legion. 2 of the 3 for Japolino up alongside it. Oh, he's gonna walk up. That's a free kill here. Now they know there's gonna be a guy A palace because I'm watching that. And that means that Freddy Ford knows that there's a guy coming through the A apps. But the game is gonna get slowed down a little bit because of that kill, Flakes. Where's the next kill's gonna happen in front? Which team is gonna get it? Oh my goodness, that's Freddy Frog getting a second one here, and a third! He doesn't even use the scope. And this is going from being bad to being an absolute
it's a travesty.
Collapse here from the Hard Legion.
Complete travesty. Hard Legion have no sway on their T side right now. Rage desperately trying to hang on here, but it's not gonna happen. Freddy on his own little riot there, a quad kill.
Wow. Nobody's walking up with Crad here at all. But look at these shots here with this. Absolutely, this one is beautiful as well. That one without the scope. This one is a nice one tap. But 4K there. Looks like they were getting something Hard Legion, but here's the pause. But the bad news is they're not gonna have money here in this round anyway. So this next round won't really matter for Hard Legion. And looking at the money from Japolina, they can buy every single round now till time. But look at this, 9 kills for Crad. He's the only one really killing anyone here. His team is 4-1-2-2. This is... If you're sharing up for Hard Legion right now, I don't know, man. That's not gonna be working out for you. 8-2. Japolina on the way to get double digits here very, very soon.
Seems like there's really not much coming out right now from this T side. There's still significant lack of fragging power more than anything else, but there's no real nothing sticking for them, to be quite frank. Money here as well looks very rough. I'll have to buy down to 2k at most, so pistol, Kevlar, a couple of nades. Highly likely, if previous form for our CTs continues, that we are going to see 9-2 here.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to stop there either. I think they're just going to keep on grinding here, Japolina, to get up on 10-11 rounds. Smoke's being deployed in the middle here. Nade's coming out. They're going to push on short here. And there's Plaston with an entry kill. He's going to get pushed here. Is there anybody else to help him? Here we go. Relaxer gets him. Another nade there. Should be taken out for the Crad. Actually, doesn't matter. Because they're getting absolutely wrecked here in the middle here, Hard Legion. And there you have your 9th round here. It looks to be another flawless round. They had so many flawless rounds in this half. Yeah, like this is like the 4th or 5th right now. Like, it's been absolutely crazy that they don't die here, of course. And they don't. Like, relax at 16,000. Like, when do you see 16,000 in a game like this when it's 9-2? You really don't. And I'm just gonna have to wonder, like, when is Hard Legion gonna get any more T rounds?
That is the question. It's are they gonna be able to get going early enough in this game to have a say? Because it's, for example, like the classic case of a team that gets a 12-3 scoreline, bringing back the last 3 rounds, and they start to get comfortable in the game. The second half starts to look good, but because the scoreline is 12-3, they just don't have the rounds to play with anymore. And they just lose based on that fact alone. That's what's pertinent here for me. Is it's Hard Legion. If they don't start bringing this one back and getting 4 or 5 rounds on their T side, then they've already lost enough to hand Japolino the win, because Japolino on their T side, we know what these Swedes are like. They are lean, mean, fragging machines.
Definitely, but what? How did Lone to just jump
How has
out
this
here
come from?
first?
How has this come from what we've seen previously? Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Perhaps I should rephrase my previous point to be referring to Forrester, as he's just absolutely flexed on his opposition there, jumps out Palace and basically just kills them all.
Maybe they just need to go for the aim battles instead of going for the tactics here. And there's Kinky getting another one. This is going to be the third round here for Legion. And maybe they just need to rush out on the A side from Apps and just get the frags. He just gets the first guy through the smoke. He jumps down, get the guy Shadow, jumps up. Well, he gets that one jungle. Like, it just looks so easy in that round for Legion. And that's the only good round they really have done, except the 2 rounds they won. Japolino, but this is where you can be a little bit complacent if you are a team with a big lead. You may already say, okay, we already have so big lead here. Let's just take a chill here, you know, and then letting the other team run back with a couple rounds. So what Japolino needs to do here, they need to stop this. They need to try to put a 10th or 11th round here to just really put down their foot and say, we're gonna get this second map here and make this a 2-0. We don't want the third map. We just want to make this end. We don't want the third map to go down to an Inferno. Inferno is also good. But Japolino, they're done playing games. So, I don't think they're going to be able to do the same here for it. Jumping out of the apartments, getting 2. That is something you do one time. And then it's done.
Smoke drop towards Ram, right-clicking in Aether as well. He's clearly thinking that someone is right there. Just a moments away as the push comes through, waiting for a flash behind him, but it never arrives. Plessin will at least be there to trade. There is a gap in the smoke, which you'd hope Relaxer will use. There you go, point and click. Thank you though, dives straight through CT. Oh, Relaxer says no thank you. No scope to the back of the chest.
Now there's down to 2 here for Legion. This is one of the rounds they can't really lose after winning one. Oh, he's gonna go. He could have jumped up. Oh my goodness, he gets him through the smoke. You are kidding me, Relaxer. That's the 3rd kill for you in this round. Dixon, he's gonna get caught with his nade out, and DGL also goes down. Why are they peeking alone here? I have no idea what Dixon just did with his utility. He just ran in front. And well, Relaxer with a 4K. When you have Relaxer, you don't need any other player really. He's looking for some utility, but why would you need it? You have all the money you need. And well, Flakes, that is one way to flex on Hard Legion. First shot, nice, well done. But here, this second shot right here, this is a beauty. Goes to the no scope, and then more frags coming in here. This one through the smoke. How does he even land it? Seen time after time again here. But here, what is Desert doing here? But yeah, it's gonna be 10 for Japolino, 2 more to go. And our Legion, they're still stuck on 3. They want to take middle here. Desert, Dixon is getting full flash. He needs to get some backup. He gets backup from Freddy Frog. He finds 2 instead. So that's good. 2 for 1. Oh, they don't know who to boost. Smut is gonna take down Freddy Frog. This is back to 3v3 actually. So in the end, it's been the trades, and plus it's gonna whiff the spray on Rage. But DGL is on top of the box. If they go short here, they're not gonna expect him to be on top of the box because his teammate already died. Poor Legion, they're trying to grind the last 2 rounds out, and Rage is expecting him to be there. And I feel like, are we gonna see 5 rounds for Hard Legion maybe here?
I really hope so, because it's what's going to allow them to compete in the second half. Even just getting 4 here is huge. So I really hope we can see 5. That would be a monumental comeback based on where things were heading, because this was looking like a very tragic result, to be honest.
Yeah, it definitely was, but Japolino, they still have 10 rounds. They only need to win 6 rounds to close out the game here, but 6 rounds is a lot, to be honest. Especially
6
when
rounds
you're
T-side,
go
not so much though. So, in the context of this game, I don't think 6 rounds is...
Yeah.
It's going to be a task, but I don't think it's out of the bounds of what could happen. Especially when you throw in the pistol round in the mix, which T-side pistols are where Japalino have had their success, CT's pistols not so much. So if there was ever a half where I feel a little confident taking that bet on the Swedes, T-side would be it on Mirage.
Yeah. But yeah, that also means they're going to have to win the pistol. If they don't win the pistol, things are going to be looking pretty close. And this is also Horror Legion's map pick, so you know they have something. They're going to have a good CT side, almost guaranteed, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't really pick the map here in a game like this after losing the map 1. So we know they're probably going to have something in store for us on CT side, but maybe not, because this T side has been very lackluster. So maybe they're going to be having the same kind of CT side, who knows. But to go into the final round here, 10-5 would have been amazing for Horror Legion. Japalino can get 11 here. Imagine. Imagine the confidence they're gonna have. Oh. He's running. DJ doesn't want to take the shot, and that means a crad. From underground, it's gonna have the one-tap in the back of his head. That's a good start here. Entry for Horror Legion. And there's a second one from Crad. The SG is doing the work, and Rage with another one in this look 5. Dessen and Freddy Frog, last 2 men standing. Ooh, the P250, 5.7 actually, I mean. That's the headshot and then the body shot. But he will be traded out. So, Horror Legion in the end, they do come back and make a couple rounds. Dessen clearly not going to clutch a 1v3 here, that's too much of a task to do. Where is it? I guess the first one is down to 14 HP. 14 HP, picked up the AWP here. The only reason he can win is if they would peek 1 by 1. And just the guy who was apartments is now down to slope. He's gonna come up here and he's gonna get the 1-tap. Oh, there we go. He gets him through the smoke, and 5 runs for Horror Legion. Not a bad half coming in, considering what we had. It was like, I think it was 10-2 or something. Or 9-2. It just definitely made their way back here, Horror Legion. How is their CT side gonna look?
They've definitely saved themselves, but you're correct. It's going to come down to A, how their CT side looks, and B, I do think the pistol's going to play a crucial part in this, because if Japalino can start strong with the pistol and deny any force-up shenanigans, you are already looking again at a fairly rough scoreline of like 13-5, 12-5. So there is going to be that piece to it too. This pistol for me just really makes or breaks this 2-0 possibility. They drop this, they're going to have to grind it out with gun rounds, which, again, to my point earlier, I'm not hugely concerned about, but I definitely feel like that's where Hard Legion have the opportunity to also grind their way back into the game.
Yeah, but as you said before earlier, Japalino a really good T-pistol team. They've been winning most of their pistol rounds on the T side, so not sure why there would be a difference here, unless Hard Legion can hit some good shots here, but yeah, you can see 0.25 KD on Forrest there. I think he only has like 3-4 kills. So he's having a tough game. I think another one in his team also had 4 kills. So we're going to have a B push here. It's going to be a 5 versus 2 on the B side. Forrester, who had a really terrible map, needs to try to look for a couple of frags here. And you see he just continues, plus he's just jumping around the corners, just getting the flying headshots. And it seems like Japalino's pistol run on the T side keeps on being winnable. Like, keep winning.
It's where they have their strengths. You look at a lot of their pistols, and they do struggle CT pistols. I don't know whether that's just because they're not a huge fan of the USPs, or there's 101 reasons why CT pistols aren't ideal, but when you give them Glocks, these guys become just machines. Especially Pleasant, it seems, right now. He's on a field day. Just running around with a Glock, switch to the USP as well, but there isn't a huge amount to say. That was quick and easy for the T side.